your knee and shoulder pain in 10 minutes or less. Book your risk-free consultation today and get back to walking, golfing, pickleball to cycling without pain or medication. Call 708-315-6800. Meet the provider, get an x-ray and joint consultation. Why wait? JRI has treated over 30,000 Chicagoans and performed over 400,000 procedures. You could be next. Over 5,000 five-star Google reviews can't be wrong.
Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800 for the Joint Relief Institute. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Patrick, CEO of Total Wall and a client of Signature Bank. We produce high-performance materials used in exterior insulating finish systems and other stucco applications. During a recent business transaction, I learned quickly that having the right banking partner matters. Signature Bank stepped in, took time to understand my business needs, and kept things moving. If you need a banking partner you can rely on, look for a team with real experience and a commitment to your success. For me, that's Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Mike Gallagher believes the time has come for change.
President Trump is right when he says nobody grants birthright citizenship to anyone, anywhere in the world. We're the only country that has allowed the left to hijack this ridiculous issue. Everybody knows the way the Democrats have manipulated the birthright citizenship clause of the Constitution.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9 on AM 560, The Answer.
It's July 2nd, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Anisette Day. For fans of black jelly beans or black licorice, you're already familiar with the flavor of the anise herb. A favorite mixer in drinks ranging from coffee to alcohol, anisette is extremely popular in countries like Spain, Portugal, Italy, and France. One warning, however, it's never a smart idea to drink straight anise. Its high alcohol content can be very irritating to the throat. Also on this date in 1962, Sam Walton opened the first Walmart in Rogers, Arkansas. In 1964, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights and Voting Rights Acts into law. And in 1979, the Susan B. Anthony dollar coin was issued. It will be the first U.S. coin to honor a woman. If it's your birthday today, you share it with the first African American to sit on the Supreme Court, Thurgood Marshall, born in 1908, and the king of NASCAR, Richard Petty, born in 1937. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
I'd like to tell you about a man named Phineas who as a child survived the Holocaust. Phineas survived because Christians hid him from the Nazis, risking everything to save his life. Today, Phineas is in his 80s. He can no longer stand on his own or even leave his home to receive medical care. And when sirens sound and missiles fall, he doesn't have the time or the strength to reach safety. But once again, Christians are helping to save his life. Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a mobile clinic brings doctors and medicine right to Phineas's doorstep, providing care that he otherwise would not receive, especially during a time of war. Phineas said, "Christians saved my life during the Holocaust, And now again, they are helping me. As Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day approaches, remember these precious children of God by lifting them up in prayer, asking for his protection, his comfort, and his peace. Stand with Israel in prayer by visiting supportifcj.org. That's supportifcj.org.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneInc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneInc.com. Tech made personal, locally.
Sean Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560 The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard, they play by the rules, they pay their taxes, they make their communities even stronger. If that describes you and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
This 4th of July, celebrate America the right way. Fire up the grill, invite the family over, launch the fireworks, and proudly display a handcrafted wooden American flag from UniqueWoodenFlags.com. These stunning hand-finished wooden flags are built with real craftsmanship and patriotic pride. Whether you want a classic American flag, military tribute flag, America First design, or a beautiful flag cross that celebrates both faith and freedom, they've got something for every proud American. Perfect for your home, office, man cave, lake house, garage, or as a meaningful gift for veterans, first responders, and patriots who still love this country. This Independence Day, don't just wave the flag, display it with pride. Visit UniqueWoodenFlags.com today. That's UniqueWoodenFlags.com.
Each morning, the newsmakers and the newsbreakers shaping today's conversation are heard on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line on Chicago's Morning Answer. When you need answers about what's happening in your world, you turn to AM 560 The Answer. And when you need answers about how to prepare for and protect your retirement, you turn to the Alpha Wealth Group, now the proud sponsor of the AM 560 Answer line, right here on Chicago's source for news, opinion, and insight. AM 560 The Answer.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, expect hazy sunshine with a breeze as it will be very hot and humid. Later in the afternoon, there is a chance of a thunderstorm in the area. The high will reach 95 degrees. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with very warm and humid conditions. There might be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with a low of 75 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. You know the good thing about the heat, you don't have to shovel it. They're a little dad humor for you. And at least you don't live in France. Police Superintendent Larry Snelling. He gone. Larry Snelling announcing his retirement yesterday, effective in 2 weeks, July 15th. During the past 3 years, I had the privilege to lead the department through the 2024 DNC and a record low reduction in shootings, homicides, and violent crime. While this happened during my tenure, the hard and courageous work of the members of the CPD should be given credit. Though I'm proud of what we achieved, there's more to be done, you don't say. And I'm confident we created a foundation for further progress, and so on and so forth. I'm closing out this chapter of my life with a heart full of gratitude for every Chicagoan and every community partner who embraced me during my time at the Chicago Police Department. I ask that you continue to extend the same warmth and support to every member of the department. This can be a thankless job at times, and a simple thank you or act of kindness can mean everything to the men and women who give so much for our city. I reflect, as I reflect on the past 3 years, I also reflect on the most difficult moments we've had as a department and city. Families in the city lost loved ones to violence, and too many officers were killed on the line of duty because of the same violence they work to protect everyone from. No matter what, I will always work to ensure the sacrifices of our fallen heroes and the strength and resilience of our Gold Star families are never forgotten. My T-shirt I wore as a new recruit is framed in my office and is a reminder of where I started. When I walked into the police academy at 22 years old, I wanted to protect those who needed help and make a difference in the lives around me. More than 3 decades later, I hope I did just that. 30 years on the job, Larry Snelling announcing his retirement. 312-642-5600, alphawealthgroup.com, call and text line. I wonder, maxing out on your pension, I wonder if there were other factors at play. I don't really wonder, but I wonder what some of those other factors at play might have been that prompted him to retire at this point. We'll talk a little bit later in the program to former Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson, who, of course, rose through the ranks with Larry Snelling and knows him, and perhaps he'll provide some insight. Snelling just issued a statement. He didn't want to make a statement and hold himself out for public questioning, which is understandable because where would the questions inevitably go? Does your relationship with BLM Brandon have anything to do with this? How would you characterize your relationship with BLM Brandon and his tenure as mayor that tracks along with yours as police superintendent? And I think he would have handled it with grace, as he normally does. As I've said from the beginning, I'm inclined to like this guy, and what you hear from the rank and file is that they like him and respect him, and felt like he had their backs, and that's not always been the case. Certainly it's not the case with the civilian political leadership. So at least within the department, they closed ranks and did the best they could given the civilian political leadership. But yeah, it would be interesting to get unvarnished opinions from Snelling and others who've recently put in their retirement papers to tell us what's going on, or frankly, more to the point, to probably confirm what we know is going on. I'm sure some of the things that he had to endure rankled Superintendent Snelling, as they rankle most law enforcement, as they rankle most commonsensical people in the city, the distinct minority that description represents. Chicago Contrarian, an example of what we're talking about here. Chicago Contrarian has a piece which is sort of an evergreen piece, but it's always nice to point out the examples here. The Chicago Department of Public Health recently awarded a grant to a group, Increase the Peace, one of these violence interrupter orgs, that so popular among the neo-Bolshevik set. The defund the police set, of which BLM Brandon is one. He can't be one now as mayor. Had to tamp that down a little bit, like you're seeing the other neo-Bolsheviks do with respect to the positions they've long held as they advance in, say, primary elections to hold seats in Congress. Same thing here. Increase the Peace, run by Berto Aguayo. Aguayo, and they got a grant from the Chicago Department of Public Health to do violence prevention. And social media, Berto Aguayo railed against ICE and CPD, claimed law enforcement has a long history of abusing the rights of protesters. Other evidence they cobbled together did Chicago Contrarian. Protester affiliated with Increase the Peace sprayed a chemical compound at Chicago police officers during unrest several years ago. And these are one of the organizations that have been entrusted with taxpayer resources and the imprimatur of the civilian political leadership to, well, as they say, increase the peace on the streets. And how's that going? how's it going on those murder trains they call CTA, and the give and take, the tension that clearly existed in terms of the resources available and the willpower present to surge resources on platforms, on trains where so many people are being victimized. And it continues unabated. The stories every single day about detailing the violence on public transit. I know. BLM Brandon did a wonderful thing in issuing an executive order saying no vaping on the trains. So, that's been addressed. But no burning people to death on the trains still has some work to do. I have an idea for the next police chief. Have you seen the story about the Mexican Batman? Yes. The Mexican Batman, why is he called the Mexican Batman? Because he is doing vigilante street justice in Jalisco. Thieves in Lagos de Moreno, Jalisco, Mexico, asking the question, ¿Quién eres tú? Yo soy Batman. Mass vigilante is swooping in, beating up bad guys, and leaving them gift wrap for cops to pick up. Literally. They've got some pictures of this, and he is duct taping, I guess, suspected criminals to electric poles and notifying police that, the guy you're looking for is duct taped to an electric pole. You can go pick him up now. At least 5 men were discovered helplessly duct taped to street poles over the last 10 days, beginning on June 13th in Jalisco. Many of the alleged thieves also had mustaches, cat whiskers, and the Spanish word for thief scrawled on their faces. Well, if you're going to engage in a little vigilante justice, you certainly should have fun at the expense of the criminals. A little ridicule, a little good-natured ridicule. Nothing wrong with that. Police are treating the tied-up men as victims, however, and are attempting to catch the vigilante, according to the state security secretary. Obviously, you get what law enforcement's stated position has to be, but the Mexican Batman is hunting motorcycle thieves in part and taping them to street poles. So, maybe we need some, that's a real violence interrupter. And he's not even asking for taxpayer money to do it. How about that? So, as I said, we'll talk to Eddie Johnson a little bit later in the show about this. But just since we're on this topic and public transit, here we go again. I'd love for the City Journal guys and gals to do in Chicago what they just did in L.A. with the L.A. Metro. Love to see them do that with CTA, which is they spent 24 hours riding the L.A. Metro, as well as getting out and about and talking to elected officials, because the L.A. Metro, like the New York City subway, like the CTA, seems to have this endemic violence problem where middle-income people who use public transit to commute to work or get around town, cost effectively, are putting their physical safety in jeopardy by doing so. So what's actually happening versus what we're told from the civilian political authorities? And what do the civilian political authorities have to say about such documented incidents and what you're actually hearing in terms of the experience from average, frequent users of the transit system? This is City Journal, which is a product of the Manhattan Institute, a think tank out, in Manhattan, on their expose on LA Metro in part.
The Los Angeles Metro is a nightmare, but it wasn't always this way. 10 years ago, the Metro was a more or less functional transportation system. Then, racial justice activists launched a campaign to remove the police from the trains, claiming that fare checks harmed racial minorities.
The officers themselves specifically say that they think black people in South LA are suspect merely by being black in South LA.
Under pressure, Metro authorities capitulated. In 2017, they ended their agreement with the Sheriff's Department to conduct fare checks. Since 2016, fare checks are down more than 99%. And crime on the Metro has nearly doubled, adjusting for ridership. We rode the train for 24 hours to see exactly what it's like, and what we found was shocking. At the Westlake MacArthur stop, we met Kalen, who told us he's seen overdoses, violence, and a dead body on the train.
Worst thing I seen, a nigga dead. He died on there. He wasn't breathing. He was just out just sleeping on the seat. People tried to bring him back. He wasn't out.
Another rider told us he'd been stabbed on the Metro in East Hollywood and now carries a gun.
They left me for dead at the Beverly, Vermont train station. The boy stabbed me from the back of my back. It was a random act of violence.
This woman, Eliana, said she was stalked, then assaulted by a man on the train last year.
I feel like there's a rise right now in sexual assault and rape, and I feel like no one's really doing anything about it and no one's really talking about it. No matter how much you cover up just the fact that you're a woman, people already see that as somehow an open door to approach you and harass you and whatever else, So it's really dangerous.
Yeah, it's not very fun. Between 2020 and 2025, crime in the LA Metro more than doubled. And that's at the same time that CTA, I believe, is the current leader in the clubhouse when it comes to crime on public transit. In raw numbers, not even adjusted for population. That story was out a little bit earlier this spring. Mm-hmm. More than doubled, as I said, between 20 and 2025, City Journal is reporting. LA Metro's dedication to creating an equitable transit system, there's that word again, equitable, where all Angelenos, drug addicts, drug addicted, homicidal maniacs included, can effectively ride free without consequences. So, in other words, the people who play by the rules and ride the Metro have been condemned to die underground in the name of racial justice. Well, at least in Chicago, you die or are victimized above ground. So we have that going for us. All right, coming up at 5:38, I will get some more reactions or some. I've seen some text on it, some additional reactions if you want on the departure of Larry Snelling. Be interested to hear from any retired cops too who know Snelling, and also an experience that red diaper baby David Axelrod had walking around the city of Big Shoulders, and then we'll move on to some stories because we're almost in the fourth here. Those unsung American stories that we have been telling for the last couple of weeks. I've got some more. 5:38. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
5:33, 79 muggy degrees this morning in the QC Kinetics newsroom. And our top story, as you've been listening with Dan, Chicago's top cop is calling it a career. CPD Superintendent Larry Snelling announcing he's retiring on July 15 after more than 33 years of service.
The spotlight isn't something that I'm necessarily interested in. What I'm interested in is succeeding and success and making sure that whatever we're doing as an organization is going to be effective for everyone in the city.
Mayor Brandon Johnson praised Snelling for dedicated leadership. Police Commission member Anthony Driver says it is a huge loss.
Larry Snelling is Chicago, right? He grew up coming up through the ranks. He, born and raised in Inglewood. He knows this city.
Alderman Ray Lopez told reporters it's a bad time for a retirement.
When we've already had countless teen trends, street takeovers, multiple mass shootings, and to leave it in the hands of a novice or temporary placeholder concerns me.
The mayor says Fred Waller will take over as interim superintendent. The Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability begins the search for Snelling's replacement. The head of the Chicago FBI office is leaving his position next week. He confirmed Wednesday that Special Agent in charge Doug Podesta retiring Monday, July 6. The latest round of talks between the U.S. and Iran is over. Officials in Qatar claim there was positive progress. At least 13 are dead after a massive missile and drone strike in Ukraine, targeting the capital of Kiev. Sony will stop making physical discs for PlayStation consoles starting in January of 2028. After that, all new games will only be available in a digital format. Other news we're following this morning. One person is seriously hurt after an explosion on Chicago's north side. Fire officials say the blast happened yesterday in a stove in the 4500 block of North Lincoln Avenue. The victim remains in very critical condition. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is alleging President Donald Trump has dementia.
I'm not a doctor. I haven't diagnosed anything. I'm just suggesting to you that just look at the way he puts words and sentences together and thoughts, and they're almost divergent in the same sentences.
With absolutely no proof, Pritzker made the allegations during a CNN interview on Tuesday night. An investigation is underway after a body was pulled from the Fox River in the western suburbs. The discovery was made yesterday in the river in St. Charles Township when a boater spotted that body. Illinois men's basketball coach Brad Underwood hitting the links today. Underwood participating in the John Deere Classic at TPC Deer Run in Silvis, teeing off with the pros. Chicago sports, Cubs score more than 3 touchdowns to sweep out the Padres out of Wrigley Field in a 23-3 win.
He probably went through the roughest patch of his career, and on the other side of it is the best stretch of his career. You know, you figure it out. I don't think Dansby could explain it to you either.
Dansby Swanson, 3 home runs, including a grand slam in the win. White Sox fall to the Orioles 6-1. Noah Schultz surrendered 3 runs over 4+ innings, but coming off injury rehab, had 7 strikeouts. USA winning in World Cup soccer. They move on to the round of 16 with a 2-0 win over Bosnia. The news, a service of Blindster.com. No retail store markups, just custom blinds, guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And up next, our AccuWeather forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center in 2 minutes.
Alex Marlow sees Iran not playing by the rules again.
The president has said that Iran has violated the ceasefire agreement with the United States by launching at least 4 one-way attack drones at ships in the Strait of Hormuz, which is not entirely unexpected. Tonight, it could be a beautiful day for an early summer bombing of Iran. And I'm cool with that. They don't want to play along. Go bomb them some more. Let's do it.
The Alex Marlow Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Is your company's cybersecurity ready to handle today's cyber attacks? Some companies never recover due to the fallout. Listen to this. In 2021, a ransomware group called DarkSide gained access to Colonial Pipeline through a compromised password. The impact? 4.4 million paid in ransom. In 2017, Equifax had a massive breach which ended up costing over $700 million in settlements. Large companies from Target, Yahoo, to small businesses, including medical practices, have suffered major losses due to cyber attacks. Many have had to close their doors. Access One is here to protect your business 24/7. Cybersecurity isn't just about IT. It's about protecting your survival and customer trust. If you're concerned about your cybersecurity, get a free baseline cybersecurity assessment from AM560 sponsor Access One. Call 1-800-654-1555 or fill out the contact form at accessoneinc.com. Access One has been protecting Chicago businesses for 3 decades. That's 1-800-654-1555 or accessoneinc.com.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-885-2929. That's 800-885-2929. 800-885-2929.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Croscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Croscom.
Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, expect hazy sunshine with a breeze, very hot and humid conditions, and the possibility of a thunderstorm in the area late this afternoon. The high will reach 95 degrees. Tonight will be mostly cloudy, very warm and humid with a few showers and a thunderstorm. The low will be around 75 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. We were talking about Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling announcing that he is retiring from the force after 30 years, effective July 15, and speculating as to some of the reasons he may want to step away, and also suggesting, a permanent replacement. I've suggested Mexican Batman. I'm not saying that's the only choice, but something to consider. And the frustrations that Snelling may have experienced under the civilian political leadership, particularly BLM Brandon, over the last 3 years. Well, I mean, he hasn't, as you heard Mike Scott's news, he was not one to go mugging for the cameras, which is good, so that when he speaks on a particular topic, it's important. And so thinking about some of the things that he did address over his tenure, sort of these nagging, recurring public safety problems like curfews with those teen takeovers that you heard Alderman Lopez talking about in the news.
The Chicago Police Department and our police officers are dedicated to keeping everyone safe in this city. And if that means that this would be a tool that could help us get there, then I'll utilize that tool. But we would do it constitutionally.
Superintendent Snelling, speaking at the U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting in Chicago, said language is being worked out for how police would notify impacted communities, but the draft ordinance would also allow police to impose preventative curfews based on intelligence about planned gatherings.
We want to prevent young teens who are coming down to wreak havoc on the city to not form up.
Yeah, that seems eminently reasonable. I think you may also get sick of having to deal with people who use phrases like impacted communities. What's the impacted community on teen curfews? Teens. Who are you trying to protect? What's that impacted community? The city of Chicago. Impacted, all these weaselly identitarian words that are dutifully regurgitated by the Chicago identitarian political press corps. So sick. God, in fact, 30 years particularly the last, say, 15. I'd be pretty frustrated too if I was Snelling. Time to, join Brad Underwood on the golf course.
So this is about keeping people safe. I've brought people together to come up with a plan that ensures maximum safety, and we'll see what that product ultimately lends itself to be.
Yeah, so that was BLM Brandon on the same topic, and you can understand the difference where the two gentlemen thought the city should go, and ultimately who carried the day? The identitarians, the agents of chaos, no curfews. Text from a 312, retired cop. Larry was generally good for the rank and file. Brandon won't make that mistake again. Well, sure. Yeah, he's learned his lesson. Need some, defund the police commandant as the superintendent, I suppose. Snelling on ShotSpotter, another point of divergence between the chief and the Pauls. Well, the Paul in charge, at least.
Here's what I'll tell you. We have it now. We're going to use it to the best of our ability now, and we've done so throughout the time that we've had it. What I will tell you is this. Whatever happens, the Chicago Police Department is going to continue to work to keep the city safe. Obviously, I'm for technology that's going to help us get to a location quicker and help us save lives. I've said that before, and I'll say it a million times over. I don't back away from that statement that I made. However, there are some things that are outside the control of the Chicago Police Department when it comes to those things. But as I told you before, there are great men and women in this department who work really hard, and they're going to continue to do the same. The mayor and I have had a conversation about this. There was communication. The communication could have been better on both parts. Since then, we have spoken. We're very clear about communication right now. I'm feeling very positive right now about how we're going to communicate moving forward. So what I don't want to do is dabble in distractions. I don't want to get into that. I want to make sure that the relationship between myself, the mayor, is a working relationship that's going to help us go out and keep the public safe. I believe that that's where we are right now. I believe after having a clear conversation with the mayor that we're on the same page and we're moving forward.
Well, yeah, what choice do I have? I mean, he was a dutiful soldier, which you have to be. I mean, he's an at-will department head for the mayor of the city of Chicago, so if you don't like his program, then go find your own program because this is his program. Yeah, that's right. And he did his job to the best of his ability, even when he was hamstrung by BLM Brandon. That's pretty clear. And who turned out to be right about ShotSpotter? As if that was even in doubt, that the ShotSpotter cameras are racist. No. In point of fact, eliminating technology that could improve the response when somebody has been victimized, shot in particular, is what turns out to be the soft bigotry of low expectations. Not so soft. People are dying. And this has been documented since BLM Brandon canceled the ShotSpotter contract by CWB Chicago, which is, upwards of 90 cases where ShotSpotter cameras used to be, and people died waiting for a response, waiting for somebody to call 911, waiting for emergency personnel, first responders to arrive on the scene, all which would have happened faster through the use of that technology. So, but that's what you're dealing with. And you're also dealing with the larger city, at least the most vocal voices in the larger city. Larry Snelling commenting on the respect for police in the city of Chicago on the occasion of police officer being shot in the Grand Crossing neighborhood a while back.
There is a lack of respect for law enforcement at this time, and we see it every single day, but there's a lack of respect right now for life in general. And we need to start taking a closer look at the violent actors that we have out here robbing individuals, who are shooting young children. We have children being shot in this city right now. And it's high time that we stood up and stood up against these violent offenders, especially these repeat offenders. So when you know that our officers are in danger and our officers are trained to deal with these types of events, then what are our citizens going to do when they face that same level of danger? So it's important for us to understand. It's important for us to understand that we have to stand up and fight against this type of criminal behavior and this type of violent behavior in our city.
Interestingly, as we've reported before, the Chicago Police Department is the one institution in Chicago that still enjoys popular support. Something like 60% of the city approves of the Chicago Police Department, generally speaking. That's lower than it should be, of course, but it speaks to a problem. But I mean, most of the disrespect that filters down into the hoi polloi comes from politicos trying to score cheap identitarian points by, accusing police department of being systemically racist, imposing consent decrees, as has been done, and so on, which is basically the declaration that there's systemic racism, there's structural inequities that need to be addressed, and so forth. So that's what Larry Selling was dealing with. Not an enviable position. Ron, Southside, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
He was well respected. I think in the community for just that piece that you played, being very honest, in spite of what the garbage the Brandon, would give us. Regarding numbers, Dan, I just never believed the numbers about the clearance rate. But, they all play games with these numbers. So that always disturbed me about the clearance rate. Then lastly, regarding the trains, Dan, there's a train station that had an 80% non-payment rate. See, so it's not just, other crimes that the violent crimes. It is a lot. So that's it, Dan. Unfortunately, I was going to try to get out on the course today. Hadn't decided to go celebrate number 69.
Oh, that's right. Happy birthday, Ron Southside. I almost forgot. Oh, my goodness.
And I'd like to tease you because they'd be like, don't be talking about birthday. So that's why I had to do it.
Oh, very good. Very good. So what are you going to, why don't you play? Why don't you play golf?
Know what?
Because you want to actually enjoy your birthday? Yeah. That would be my attitude.
Exactly. I might just try to do 9, and that's good enough. But just good to have another day. But I was looking forward to talking to you, and have a good day, Dan.
You have a good day.
When I'm out there, I think about.
All right.
I don't know if that's gonna help me.
Far and sure, fairways and greens. Thanks, Ron. Happy birthday. It's your day. Don't worry about my day. 69, great. John, Portage Park.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the superintendent's going to spend his pension money in another state like Texas or Florida. I'm hoping you ask him.
Thanks for the call, John. I'd love to ask him. I'd love to encourage him, frankly. He's earned it. You've earned, you've earned your eternal reward, I'm sure, but you're also earned your temporal reward, which is go to Southwest Florida or some other place where you and your money will be treated better. But then you have to get Chicago out your mouth. Mark in Oak Lawn.
Hey, Dan. Thanks for taking my call. I don't think Chicago's ever going to change until that Safety Act. That put us behind so many years. And until people really speak out against that, it's going to be business as usual in Chicago. A lot of crime, a lot of murder.
Thanks for the call, Mark. George in Naperville.
Dan, you know what Chicago needs to clean up this mess? We need a Mexican Batman and a Puerto Rican Robin.
It's not bad. I would also add perhaps they could team up with a Polish Catwoman. Get her on the straight. Get a Polish Catwoman who's on the straight and narrow to help Mexican Batman and Puerto Rican Robin too. Mexican Batman, in case you missed it, there actually is a Mexican Batman, and he's right now focused on a community in Jalisco, Mexico, where he is rounding up thieves and duct taping them to electric poles and calling police to have them come pick them up. But now police are looking for Mexican Batman. But that's how it always is with your crime fighters. Not the heroes you want, but the heroes you need, like your Mexican Batman. Speaking of the opposite, political hack, red diaper baby David Axelrod, professional liar, as I believe Mike Royko termed him, posted this as part of maybe, this also sort of feeds into the sort of stories that I'm sure Larry Snelling is tired of responding to, even internally. David, it's just a bizarre thing to post, but okay, here it is. So I just walked by the Art Institute of Chicago, where an elderly man, probably homeless, was sprawled unconscious on the museum's front stone steps in the midst of a heat emergency. Yeah, and please synchronize your thermostats to 78 degrees. America's mayor has so invade.
And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid.
Don't make BLM Brandon repeat it. Just do it. Anyway, back to Red Diaper Baby David. So he finds an elderly man, probably homeless, sprawled unconscious in the front steps of the Art Institute. Okay, picking it up. I asked a museum security guard about it, and she said she had woken him 3 times and suggested he move into the shade, and he refused each time. Getting tan. I called 911, and the operator said, well, is he asking for help? When I said no, she said, well, I'm not going to send anyone. So the man remained passed out in the blazing noon sun. I guess that's how the city of Chicago deals with such situations. Perhaps I should have tried to wake him to try and persuade him to move into the shade, but I'm embarrassed to say I didn't. I moved on like many others who simply ignored him. I hope we're not all complicit in assisting an unintended suicide. Not exactly the Good Samaritan parable, David Axelrod illustrate. Why didn't you just escort him over to the Obama Library? That welcoming place in the welcoming city, and maybe he could shoot some hoops with Ali G or something. I mean, I called 911 and they said we're not sending anybody, so I just moved on. I hope he didn't commit. I hope he didn't die. David Axelrod. David Axelrod, Good Samaritan? ? Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneInc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneInc.com. Tech made personal locally.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up at 6:06, here 48 hours away from the official 250, some unsung American stories for the Chicago DMA, for, our show area. We'll have our latest installment at 6:06. It's now 6 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
A search at sea in the Middle East. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, for a missing American after a helicopter went down.
The MH-60S Seahawk helicopter made an emergency landing at sea yesterday. The U.S. military says there's no indication the crash was caused by enemy action, but the cause is still under investigation. Navy assets are searching for the missing crewman. 3 others on board were hurt, but are in a stable condition.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. This after another round of indirect talks between the U.S. and Iran.
Mediators in Qatar announced that positive progress was made in those technical talks on Wednesday in Doha aimed at advancing the memorandum of understanding. Already, the Iranians are starting to admit that some nuclear inspections will take place, and ultimately, some of the money for sanctions relief will be used to purchase goods for the Iranian people.
That's Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. While people gather in Israel, marking 1,000 days since the Hamas terror attack, October 7th, 2023, that killed more than 1,000 Israelis and triggered the deadly, destructive war in Gaza.
We demand an official commission of inquiry by the Israeli government.
Russia hit Ukraine with another bombardment, retaliating for strikes that hit oil facilities in Russia. They launched hundreds of drones and missiles, targeting the capital, Kyiv, killing at least 17 Ukrainians, injuring many more, causing a lot of damage. A lot of America is baking and will for the next few days.
These temperatures, of course, feeling worse because the humidity in place. But believe it or not, it is hotter in New York City right now than it is in Miami, Florida.
Fox weather meteorologist Britta Merwin. The heat index will hit triple digits. Washington, D.C. up to New England. Heat warnings or alerts also in place. Arkansas to Tennessee to Wisconsin over Ohio and Pennsylvania. A big American win at the World Cup.
USA is on top, and I don't know what I can say. Don't count us out. USA!
Those are from watch parties in Atlanta and Indianapolis. The U.S. beat Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0 to advance to the round of 16. America's listening to Fox.
6:02. 79 feels like 79 with the heat and humidity this early morning in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Chance of a thunderstorm later today and overnight. Chicago's top cop calling it a career. Larry Snelling announcing his retirement on July 15th.
The spotlight isn't something that I'm necessarily interested in. What I'm interested in is succeeding and success and making sure that whatever we're doing as an organization is going to be effective for everyone in the city.
And another retirement at a critical, high-profile law enforcement position. Chicago's FBI field office will have the head of their office leaving next week. Special agent in charge Douglas D. Podesta is retiring on Monday, July 6. Following a community backlash, a major landowner at Hoffman Estates is pulling a data center project off of a 186-acre parcel at Route 59 in Higgins Road. Permits for a rezoning request were pulled off the table July 1st. The Plum Farms site near South Barrington and Barrington Hills was stopped by a 4-2 vote after activists stirred up residents against potential noise and traffic in a largely residential area. Hoffman Estates already has 2 other data centers under construction. Construction workers found what appear to be remains on Chicago's northwest side Wednesday morning. CPD called for a death investigation in the 5700 block of North Avondale in the city's Old Norwood Park neighborhood. And a Plainfield man is being identified as the remains found in Lake Mattoon. Illinois State Police say this past Sunday night, boaters spotted part of a human arm in the lake. Investigators determined the remains belong to Dale Wayne Turner. The incident remains under investigation. Chicago sports, Cubs score more than 3 touchdowns in a win over the Padres at Wrigley, 23-3. Dansby Swanson blasting 3 home runs, including a grand slam.
To be able to play this game, the opportunity to be able to play this game, God's blessed me with ability and just the blessing to be able to be here, and so Just got to keep running with that thing.
White Sox fall to the Orioles 6-1. They visit Cleveland tonight. Free agent guard Norman Powell cashing in. The 33-year-old signing with the Bulls. 2 years, $45 million. The News is a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. We'll have a check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Alex Marlowe explains what America means to him.
It's not just our values that make America unique and special. It is our people who are uniquely entrepreneurial, industrious, and creative. And they give the world hope that even in our darkest days, we've created a land that will foster and nourish and encourage these individuals to emerge and make America and even the world a better place.
Don't miss The Alex Marlowe Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Life moves fast, and it's easy to feel spiritually drained. That's why InTouch.org is here to help you stay grounded in God's Word every day. At InTouch.org, you'll find biblical teaching from Dr. Charles Stanley, daily devotionals, free resources, and messages that speak directly to what you're facing. Whether you need encouragement, clarity, or a moment to reconnect with God, it's all right at your fingertips. Discover a place to grow your faith and find real hope at InTouch.org.
So Ryan and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. He provided for our family in life and also after his death. I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Apply in minutes and get same-day coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again, not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
6:08. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Couple of problem spots this morning on the tri-state. One of them northbound, right between 80-94 and the Lincoln Oasis. You've got an accident with a left lane block. And delays on the Stevenson. Really slow traffic inbound this morning between Central and Kedzie. And 80-94, an accident showing up eastbound right at Calumet Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. But first, a check of our forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, expect hazy sunshine with a breeze as it will be very hot and humid. Later in the afternoon, there is a chance of a thunderstorm in the area. The high will reach 95 degrees. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with very warm and humid conditions. There might be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with a low of 75 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
AM 560 presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Ordinary American.
Mr. Ordinary American.
You never made headlines, you never sought fame, but your story helped build this country.
I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
Yeah, top of the morning, Dan Proft here, and this new segment we started, taking stories from our listeners about Americans, we should know, people who were unsung but lived a life playing by the rules and embodying the principles of this country's founding and making the country better as a result. And we keep getting submissions, which is great, and we'll keep telling the story, so keep sending them to me. You can email me, dan@danproft.com, dan@danproft.com, or email the station, or send by carrier pigeon, however you want to do it, and we'll share the stories. Yeah, what a society celebrates, it begets. What it extols, it begets. So let's tell the stories of people who did it the right way. Let's start with this submittal from Catherine and Joan Gubin, Catherine Dingus. Anyway, our family, mom, dad, 4 kids, moved from the South Side in 1966 to Homewood. We'd all gone to Catholic school, church at St. Thomas More in Ashburn, and starting Winston Churchill Public School from the uniform-wearing Catholic school was quite a culture shock for me. I see. In 5th grade, our teacher, Mrs. Jones, made such a positive, lifelong impact on me. During the winter, instead of outside recess, she read out loud to the class from Captain's Courageous by Kipling, which I just ate up. The whole class listened so attentively. I remember at one point looking around thinking, wow, even the cool kids like it. I think Mrs. Jones could easily have assigned us some quiet activity to do on her own, but she gave us the gift of her time and shared the magic of reading great literature to us instead. Later in the same year, she had us do some creative writing, including poetry. She read one of my poems and said, "That's good." I still remember her warm, encouraging smile and voice as she said that. It meant so much to me then, and about 60 years later, still does now. Our mom and room mother, his sister Catherine, our mom and room mother and sister Catherine's 4th grade class made sure that Catherine heard Elie Wiesel talk when he came to Churchill School, which made a big impression on her. Elie Wiesel, if people ask me, just as a quick aside, who is the person you the best interview you ever had, or the most powerful person just in terms of gravitas that you've ever interviewed? I guess that's the way I would describe it. I inevitably, and this was back at WLS, but Elie Wiesel, the author of Night, Nobel Peace Prize winner. Yeah. Anyway, going back to Catherine and Joan here, and Mrs. Jones. Oh, that's Mr. Jones. Isn't that kind of gross? Anyway, at home, we had a wonderful assortment of books, and our mom took time out of her very busy day to read to us all and strictly limited the TV. My parents started a junior great books discussion group at Homewood Library. Among the stories we read, Bartleby the Scrivener by Melville, The Overcoat by Gogol, Christmas Carol by Dickens, of course. I think having a group of people outside of a school setting discussing these books imparted a real-world sense of the importance of classical literature for young people. The wide assortment of stories offered opened up new worlds of interest. The fact that my parents, with 4 kids, dad working, mom with no family to help her, took the time to host this program is quite an incredible gift. I can still hear my mom's voice asking a discussion question to us about A Christmas Carol. Visiting my parents as an adult many years ago, if I were leaving them to take a train back to my apartment, I remember being asked, "Do you have a book?" I love that. That is awesome. That's a great story. So kudos to Mrs. Jones and to Catherine Jones, mom and dad. I mean, it was my mom who instilled a love of learning and reading in me sort of the same way. She probably should have limited my TV time a little bit more than she did. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to recite the casts of Facts of Life in Different Strokes and all the sitcoms of my day. But anyway, I digress. That is a great gift, and that's one that you pass on too. That I love that story. That's a good one. So thank you, Catherine and Joan, and Mrs. Jones, and Mom of Catherine and Joan. All right, that's another one. This is from Matt, who used to be in Darien and now is in Queen Creek, Arizona. Yeah, that tracks. My grandfather's name was Herbert Engel. He came back from World War II to his hometown of Martinsburg, Nebraska. Currently population of 78. So, small town, yeah. His hometown of Martinsburg, Nebraska, he did what any aspiring man would do. He went to Chicago to look for work. Not on a bus or an Uber, but he just started walking. This is literally like the Nebraska story with Bruce Dern. He got picked up eventually by a trucker, but he made it and became a salesman for White Westinghouse. He sold appliances door to door for years and eventually got a job at a printing company named R.R. Donnelley. I've heard of that, which if you drove into Chicago on I-55 back in the day, you probably remember seeing. Although he had no college education, he eventually became vice president of sales for R.R. Donnelley. No small feat for a printer that used to do Sears Catalog, Encyclopedia Britannica, and lots of other massive printing back in the day. No, obviously, very successful company. I will never forget the man that did his eulogy. John Walter, at the time, was the CEO of R.R. Donnelley. He was, at the time of his passing, in 1994, John Walter was the CEO of R.R. Donnelley, where Matt's grandfather, Herbert Engel, became a vice president. He talked about Herb time, that many of the young salesmen there would get as much time as they could with Herb. I remember at the time seeing him in such a different life. When I heard that, to me, he was just my grandpa. I also remember him taking me to clean around dumpsters when I was around 13 in the winter at a property that my aunt, his daughter, had acquired in her newly formed cleaning business. We drove in his Cadillac and shoveled garbage that was piled up between the dumpsters and a fence surrounding the dumpsters. It wasn't until later in life I thought, how many retired executives would be shoveling garbage all day with their grandson for no pay? Probably not many, but that was my grandpa. He worked his butt off his whole life, started with dirt floors, went to war, never asked anyone for anything, never had a credit card, never bought anything he couldn't pay for, never complained when he got Parkinson's disease. He was a kind, hardworking man who busted his ass his whole life for his family. In other words, an American. Excellent, Matt. Thank you for that. Well written, too. I'm sure Grandpa Herb would be proud. Very good. All right, let's want one more. 312-642-5600, alphawealthgroup.com. Call and text line if you want to just share one extemporaneously. Always welcome to do that. This is from Liz Folk, a great everyday American, Dr. Frank Folk. Frank was a first-generation American born in Chicago in 1925. His parents worked to make a good life for themselves and their son. They made certain he studied hard. He was in Naval ROTC through high school, college, and medical school, and worked various jobs to make ends meet. In 1949, Frank graduated medical school. The next day, he married Lonnie and began surgical residency at Cook County Hospital. While still a surgical young resident, Frank left for Korea and served as a battalion surgeon with the Marines, and then as commanding officer of Easy Medical Company, a Navy field hospital near the front lines. Think MASH, but Navy. He was awarded the Bronze Star with a Combat V. Dad never talked with us about his time in Korea, but while watching MASH reruns later in his years, commented that he was Colonel Potter, running the unit at age 26. What amazing times, what a solid generation. Frank returned from Korea to Cook County Hospital to complete a surgical residency. He and Lonnie moved to Naperville, where Frank worked as Naperville's first surgeon. Their family quickly grew to 9 children. Oh, boy. They instilled a sense of kindness and ethics, a love of learning, a respect for dreams and ambition, an appreciation for what we have, a love of travel and expanding horizons, and above all, a love of family. And we always had dinner together no matter what time Dad got home, often quite late. Frank worked long hours, was on call always, and made house calls. He also volunteered 2 days a week at Cook County Hospital for a decade, not only for free, but out of love for humanity. Frank later served as acting chief of surgery at Cook County Hospital for several years, then joined Loyola University Medical Center and Hines VA Hospital. One of his students remarked, quote, "He was a classy man. God gave him many wonderful gifts, and he generously shared them with all of us." Mom died shortly after their 60th anniversary. Frank continued to treasure time with his children, grandchildren, and friends. He died peacefully at home at age 95. A lifelong colleague remembered Frank was and still is considered truly one of nature's noblemen by all who knew him well. I like that. One of nature's noblemen. That's very good. See, these are great stories, and they're well written. So you know they're descendants of great Americans, in the case that they're related, or they had great educators like Mrs. Jones. Love telling those stories, so keep them coming. Dan@danproft.com. And this is Dan Proft on Chicago's Morning Answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
March 4th, 1865. The Civil War was nearing its end. The nation was exhausted, divided, and grieving. On that day, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address, just 700 words spoken in about 7 minutes. 41 days later, Lincoln would be assassinated. Yet the words he spoke that day still echo through history. In that brief address, Lincoln referenced God 14 times, spoke of prayer, and quoted scripture repeatedly. He reminded Americans that both sides of the conflict shared a common faith, saying both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. Lincoln understood that political division alone could not explain the nation's crisis. More than 160 years later, America still wrestles with division, truth, and our dependence on God. The question is whether we'll remember the wisdom Lincoln left behind.
Each morning, the newsmakers and the newsbreakers shaping today's conversation are heard on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line on Chicago's Morning Answer. When you need answers about what's happening in your world, you turn to AM 560 The Answer. And when you need answers about how to prepare for and protect your retirement, you turn to the Alpha Wealth Group, now the proud sponsor of the AM 560 Answer Line, right here on Chicago's source for news, opinion, and insight. AM 560 The Answer. This 4th of July, celebrate America the right way. Fire up the grill, invite the family over, launch the fireworks, and proudly display a handcrafted wooden American flag from UniqueWoodenFlags.com. These stunning hand-finished wooden flags are built with real craftsmanship and patriotic pride. Whether you want a classic American flag, military tribute flag, America First design, or a beautiful flag cross that celebrates both faith and freedom, they've got something for every proud American. Perfect for your home, office, man cave, lake house, garage, or as a meaningful gift for veterans, first responders, and patriots who still love this country. This Independence Day, don't just wave the flag, display it with pride. Visit UniqueWoodenFlags.com today. That's UniqueWoodenFlags.com.
Do you have diabetes or high blood pressure? Does someone in your family have high blood pressure, diabetes, or kidney failure? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are at risk for kidney disease and should get screened. The National Kidney Foundation Illinois offers free health screenings through the Kidney Mobile. To find a free screening in your area, please visit kidneymobile.org or call 312-321-1500.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
AM 560, The Answer.
Text from 708, great stories, Dan. They sure compel one to assess what he has accomplished to this point, and cajoles those desirous to do more. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's, boy, listen to some of the stories. Exactly. It should be motivational. And keep those stories coming, because, as I said, I love telling them, Dan at danproft.com, the unsung Americans who play by the rules. I don't know if we have exactly a working handle on it, but you get the direction of the segments, and the stories provide ample evidence. I mentioned this earlier in the week, but I never did get to it. This movie that is getting a lot of attention in conservative circles, frankly, called Citizen Vigilante. It may be the worst movie I've ever seen. It's this Uwe Ball, not to be confused with Uwe Blab, who played for the Hoosiers, director who does these sort of cheap exploitation films. And Armie Hammer, who, after he washed out of Hollywood because he's a terrible actress and a creep, was selling real estate in the Cayman Islands, last I heard. Now he's back to play this role. It is so insulting to the viewer. And I just don't want people to get fooled, because if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, for example, the critical reviews, 10%. The audience reviews, 94%. Say, oh, that's what happened, and you get fooled. Oh, seen that before, and it's Hollywood left-wing bias because the Citizen Vigilante story is about street justice for people in this case, Germany, illegally, that are overrunning German society and engaged in all sorts of marauding and criminal activity and so forth. So that's why Hollywood doesn't like it. No. I mean, there may be something to that. That's obviously Hollywood's antagonistic towards that, towards the view of open borders and law enforcement. I got that. But don't use that as the reason to spend, to waste $7, renting it on Amazon. It's awful, but as I said, it's worse than awful. It's insulting. There is nothing redeeming about the Armie Hammer character. First of all, the movie looks like it was shot on an iPhone. It's just terrible. The writing is awful. There's no particular point to it. The characters are one-dimensional. Armie Hammer is, a complete stiff. It's bizarre. And the thing that is sort of was the final insult, if you get to the end of it, and yes, this is a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to listen, then cover your earmuffs. The last screen, first of all, it takes him like 55 minutes into the film to actually do any vigilante justice on behalf of any victim, and then it was just like a tip. The whole thing is just ridiculous. There's a review in National Review about it if you really want to get into the meat of it. It's not even worthy of the critical eye. It is so viscerally repellent. There is no need to go into much of the attempted plot, the efforted acting. But the great insult here is at the end of this awful, awful film. The film is dedicated to the thousands of rape and murder victims in Europe who were betrayed by our legal system. Well, that is an awful dedication to those victims. The underlying issue is real, but this is exploitive of an underlying issue to try to make a cheap movie and turn a profit. And there's nothing wrong with making a cheap movie and trying to turn a profit. Particularly if you hit upon something like the Blair Witch Project. Okay, great. Did some low cost and it took off fine. But this is, as I said, it is preying upon people's legitimate concerns about illegal immigration in the West in general. And it gives this, this is supposed to be some anti-hero for people that have legitimate concerns about illegal immigration and all of the societal costs that are imposed. No, it's an insult to decent people who have those genuine, legitimate concerns. It's awful. I don't know if I can stress that enough. This should go straight to MST3K. I mean, this is just the entire film is just fodder for effective parodists like Joel and his robot friends. All right, there's my review of Citizen Vigilante. Don't waste your time, particularly this holiday weekend, a 3-day holiday weekend. Oh, and watch Citizen Vigilante. I've heard a lot about it. Don't do it. Many better things to watch. Let's check the headlines with Mike Scott.
79 degrees, hot and humid this morning. At 6:31, federal judge is blocking the U.S. Postal Service from carrying out President Trump's orders to restrict mail-in ballots. Earlier this year, the president signed an executive order restricting mail-in ballots ahead of the midterm elections. The latest round of talks between the U.S. and Iran has wrapped up in Qatar. Fox's Trey Yingst reports for us from Tel Aviv, Israel.
Already, the Iranians are starting to admit that some nuclear inspections will take place, and ultimately, some of the money for sanctions relief will be used to purchase goods for the Iranian people. President Trump was asked about the status of negotiations.
As far as things are going, the denuclearization of Iran is moving along well.
As diplomacy plays out, U.S. forces remain in the region. The U.S. Navy announced that a crew member from an MH-60S Seahawk helicopter is missing after an emergency water landing in the Arabian Sea.
During talks, the U.S. and Iran did agree to a week-long de-escalation in the Strait of Hormuz. Chicago's top cop is calling it a career. Superintendent Larry Snelling announcing he's retiring on July 15. Mayor Brandon Johnson praised Snelling for dedicated leadership. Police Commission member Anthony Driver says it will be a huge loss.
Larry Snelling is Chicago, right? He grew up coming up through the ranks. He, born and raised in Inglewood. He knows this city.
The mayor says Fred Waller will take over as interim superintendent. The head of Chicago's FBI field office is leaving his position next week. Douglas D. Podesta is retiring on Monday, July 6. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is alleging that President Donald Trump has dementia.
I'm not a doctor. I haven't diagnosed anything. I'm just suggesting to you that just look at the way he puts words and sentences together and thoughts, and they're almost divergent in the same sentences.
With no proof, Governor Pritzker made the allegation during a CNN interview on Tuesday night. Cubs score more than 3 touchdowns and sweep out the Padres at Wrigley Field in a 23-3 win. Chicago's won 5 straight and hosts St. Louis tomorrow. White Sox fall to the Orioles 6-1. Noah Schultz surrendered 3 runs over 4+, coming off injury rehab, but had 7 strikeouts. Sox visit Cleveland later on tonight. USA wins in World Cup soccer along with Belgium and England. And the news, the service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. A check of your roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $283. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
At Audi Morton Grove, your complete satisfaction means everything to us. As a family-owned dealership, we're dedicated to making every visit your best experience. Whether you're shopping for a new Audi, visiting for service, or simply taking a test drive, you'll always receive the personal attention and exceptional care you deserve. Visit us at 7000 Gulf Road in Morton Grove or online at AudiMortonGrove.com. McGrath Auto. Service, value, reputation. That's the power of McGrath.
On Salem News Channel, principled voices are shaping today's conversation. Scott Jennings brings clarity to the toughest debates. Josh Hammer's blistering commentary puts politics and culture on trial. And Alex Marlowe's insight connects us to what matters most. Watch anytime on Samsung TV Plus, Pluto TV, or find us on your screen at snc.tv. 3 new shows, 1 powerful lineup. Salem News Channel, across America.
Is the IRS throwing high heat like bank levies and wage garnishments and tax liens? Play ball! Are you down to your last strike? Strike 2! When the IRS brings in their closer, you don't bunt. You bring in a power hitter.
That ball is out of here!
At PJN Tax Solutions Group, we go to bat against the IRS. PJN Tax Solutions Group is a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. Don't let the IRS steal your paycheck, and don't let them tag your bank account out at home plate. This isn't Little League. This is your financial future. Bases are loaded, 2 outs, and a full count. Are you swinging alone, or are you going to call in a professional? Call PJN Tax Solutions Group now at 630-415-5296. Once again, 630-415-5296, or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance.
6:38, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Accident in Grays Lake this morning. Peterson, westbound, right before Route 83. In Lakemore, they're clearing out a disabled vehicle, Darrow Road, south of Route 120. 8094, cleanup from an earlier accident continues eastbound between the Bishop Ford and Calumet Avenue. And they've cleared an accident on the Tri-State this morning, northbound, right at the Lincoln Oasis. Traffic, a service of Lowe's. Party at your place this summer? During July 4th deals at Lowe's, save $80 on select Charbroil Performance Series gas grills, now $2.99. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection, as always, varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. But now a check of your forecast. In the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center, hazy sunshine, breezy, hot and humid through the midday, and there is a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm with a high of 95.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here, and more on the DSA takeover of whatever was left of the old Democrat Party. Not just with what's happened in New York and Colorado, but just where the entirety of the zeitgeist is, because of course it's happening not just in these high-profile congressional races, federal races, but also at the state level. And to that end, Chris Rabb, he is a state legislator in the Philadelphia area, and he's the DSA nominee for a congressional seat there in that same area. He made his way out to Colorado to introduce the Ethiopian-born Notre Dame Law School educated Malat Kiros, who defeated that 15-term incumbent on Tuesday to be the DSA candidate in that congressional district. And this is how that intro went.
They're afraid of us. They're afraid of us, and you should be. Because we're not coming here to play. We're not coming here to play. I came out here because I believe in this sister, because I know that you believe in her too. We claim her back in Philly. This is all of our success. This is our collective victory. Because we have the power. We have the power. We have the power. So how about we just bring out your next member of Congress?
Yeah, you think old Soviets generating that kind of enthusiasm? Old Soviets like Karen Bass in L.A. and these leftists, because the incumbent that Ms. Kiros beat, hard left. Government takeover of health care, pro-abortion, pro-gun control. I mean, all the standard issue positions of the hard left in that party, but the hard left isn't nearly hard enough. Chris Rabb, guy who you just heard screaming, "We have the power, they're afraid of us." His record includes, after the Bondi Beach Hanukkah attack in Australia, he said it was a false flag that was committed by Zionists, the massacre of Jews on Bondi Beach. He was the sole vote against tougher penalties for child sex trafficking. Something else, too, they're really focused on the sexualization of children and the mainlining of sexual predators. Scott Wiener, who is that California state legislator who is the odds-on favorite to replace Pelosi in the House another member of this caucus. He just opposed legislation that would prohibit pedophiles from holding public office in California.
This is potentially a very dangerous road we're going down, to say that minor crimes are going to ban you for life for running for office. That we live in a democracy where people get to run for office, including people who have a lot of flaws.
Exactly. It's minor crimes when you commit a crime that would require you to be a registered sex offender. Those are minor crimes. People have flaws. It's like kids being silly in Chicago. You see that come up again and again, decriminalizing sexual crimes, including by pedophiles. And again, Weiner, whatever, Scott, out there in California. I mean, he is like he's LGBTQIA2S+++ out and proud in all sorts of garish ways, pictures I wish I could unsee. But he's still in trouble even with this crowd because he's also Jewish. And he isn't properly anti-Semitic, which is a feature of these DSA candidates. No, it's not anti-Zionist. You can't. And his position, I'm opposed to the Bibi Netanyahu and to the war in Gaza and so on and so forth. That's not good enough. No. You have to imply, if not say outright, that you're for the extermination of the Jews. I don't know how else to say it. The way they get around saying it is they just provide support rhetorically and in some cases materially for Islamist terrorist organizations like Hamas. Chris Rabb, like Notre Dame Law School educated Malak Quiros, is tied to Hassan Piker, who is this communist streamer on Twitch, very popular, remarkably so, because they're just sort of profane. I mean, all he ever offers is sort of profanity-laced critiques of capitalism and freedom and promotion of, well, a Bolshevik revolution. But that has an audience, which should concern you. Of course, Quiros, like they all do, ran on abolishing ICE, and he framing October 7th as, quote, an inevitable consequence of apartheid, just as 9/11 was an inevitable consequence of our policy in the Middle East. They would call it sort of our colonialism. That's who these people are. Right now, just on the point of the anti-Semitic thing, from Jewish Insider, several House Democrats, including in leadership and top progressives, remain divided or notably noncommittal over whether Israel's right to exist in safety and security should continue to be a policy position of the Democratic Party moving forward. Divided opinion on whether their position should be Israel has a right to exist. The sort of unintentional good news is that for people that are maybe not as aggressively saying similar grotesque and untenable things, but are moving down that path like Tucker Carlson, maybe they'll pull some of this element away from that element and divide up the ignoramuses such that their ceiling will be lowered. Tucker Carlson is announced in an interview with Columbia Journalism Review, I'm going to help build a third party. There should be a good faith effort to figure out to be a good faith effort about what benefits the country. I mean, if you make $60,000 a year, you're degraded. Your life expectancy has gone down, and the promise of your children's lives is likely gone. No one seems to care. It's not even a factor. What about Hamas, quote unquote? I officially don't care about Hamas. The U.S. government should have as its first priority the welfare of its own people. He's saying, I don't want to be a candidate in said third party. I just want to help build it. 312-642-5600. AlphaWealthGroup.com. Call and text line. Don't care about Hamas. Well, yeah, Tucker's handle on the threat that Islamist terrorist groups pose to the West, including America, seems to really have atrophied over the last several years. But just to remind people about what Hamas did and what Hamas would do under the sponsorship of the Iranians to Americans as well as Israelis or Jews when they have the opportunity. Federal District Court Judge Roy Altman reminding us.
1,200 Jews were butchered and burned alive, mutilated and beheaded in their homes, in their kitchens, at their dance parties for peace. And yet on our Western campuses, places I went to school, we Jews were the oppressors. They raped dozens and dozens of Israeli women and girls. They committed the crime of kinocide, we now know. And I'm not trying to ruin everyone's day listening to your podcast, but we have to speak the truth because there's so much distortion. They forced men at gunpoint to have sex with their sisters and daughters, something we really haven't seen in the world since Rwanda. And yet in our Western media outlets, we Jews became the aggressors. They took 251 people hostage, stolen from their homes. And they stole them into deep, dark, dank holes, not just men and women, septuagenarians, octogenarians, Holocaust survivors in wheelchairs, and 24 infants and toddlers. And they held them there without food or oxygen or sunlight for hundreds of days. And yet, at the United Nations, which was created in many ways to ensure that never again would anything like this happen to the Jewish people or to any people in the world, we Jews became the violators of human rights. It's preposterous.
It's insane.
Where does it come from? This moral inversion, this moral distortion of everything we have always believed in, everything we have ever cared about. How do we fix it?
And to his point, Judge Altman's point, testimony from Ilana Grudzuski before the UN, where she specifically addressed the UN Special Rapporteur, Reem Al-Salem, per the Special Rapporteur's conclusion that there was no evidence of rape on the October 7, 2023 terrorist attack that Hamas committed.
Special Rapporteur, your report speaks of a violence against women. Why is there no mention of Hamas? On October 7, terrorists stormed our kibbutz, murdering, kidnapping, and burning. They touched me and sexually abused me. I was beaten and mutilated before blacking out. I wake up half naked with 7 terrorists standing over me, not knowing what happened to me in those lost moments. I went through days of pain and horror in captivity, and even now the feeling of being powerless and violated still lingers. I came back with a broken hip, a broken jaw, and a scarred soul. People see my face and think that I'm free, but freedom is not a switch. Trauma doesn't vanish once you are released. Now, every air raid sirens and every rocket from Iran throws me back into that hell. On October 7, and in captivity, Jewish women were raped, abused, and humiliated. And you, Special Rapporteur, you choose silence and denial. Ms. Al-Salem, you say there was no evidence of sexual violence on October 7. I'm standing here today, not as a report, not as a statistic. I am a woman who survived. I am the living proof of sexual violence by Hamas. When I, another Israel woman, begged not to be raped, why were you silent? Please look at me. Do you believe us now? Will you apologize?
That was a moment. And the false binary that Tucker and others like him present, I have to choose between concern about radical Islamist terrorism. I have to choose between concern about Islamofascism being visited upon this country as we watch the takeover of communities, not just Dearborn, Michigan, or Hamtramck, but in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, that include elements that do not believe in peaceful pluralism, that are radical, that support these anti-Semitic, communist candidates, Bolshevik revolutionaries. I have to choose between concern about that and concern about the guy making 60 grand who's getting squeezed from both ends. I don't have to choose. I can be concerned about both. It's a false choice. And it's the kind of thing that a demagogue, kind of rhetorical device a demagogue uses. So, I mean, there's so much more here in terms of, look, there was somebody, the Department of Justice arrested yesterday. I'm talking here again about the belief in violence as a means to political ends. It's not just one-off violence. It's supporting organized violence, organized terrorism. Justice Department announced today the arrest of a 37-year-old in New York, arrested and charged by a criminal complaint with attempting to provide material support and resources, namely currency, to a designated foreign terrorist organization, the Palestine Islamic Jihad, also known as the Al-Quds Brigades. The name of that person arrested? Catherine Beth Washburn. I wonder which Ivy League school she went to. To that point, a good piece about Colombia. Oh, the reckoning that came with the Trump administration. And there was an effort, and, you know, the flag was advanced against anti-Semitism and all sorts of other cretinous behavior on campuses. And the administration settled with some of these colleges. They should have settled. Simone Sadmir, who's a research assistant at Washington Institute and a Columbia alum. What really changed after Columbia University announced it would reform its Middle East Studies curriculum as part of its agreement with the Trump administration? I've got a piece on this. I spent weeks talking to students and faculty to figure out the verdict. The Mideast Studies Department at the center of the controversy has been left unchanged by the revamp. Come fall, the only class the department will offer on Israel is taught by Joseph Massad, who praised the October 7th attacks. So the peddling of intellectual poison will continue unabated at Columbia, and I'm sure most of the rest of the Ivy League and in other elite circles dominated by these neo-Bolshevik revolutionaries. Serious stuff. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
Croscom. 630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to call Croscom. They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you. Call Croscom. Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
And by the way, that doesn't even include all the celebrations of Somali Independence Day being platformed by Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, Buffalo, where they canceled the fireworks, but they're celebrating Somali Independence Day, the Somali flag flying over these city halls. Your Al-Shabaab resident of the week in Boston and Buffalo. It's now 7 o'clock on AM 560 WIND.
Air conditioning and water. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Millions of Americans need both today.
Probably feels hotter here just because it's the concrete and the heat gets trapped in between the buildings.
She's in New York City, but this triple-digit heat's in a lot of areas.
We have heat warnings that are about the Great Lakes, the Midwest, all the way to the Northeast.
Fox weather meteorologist Britta Merwin.
So we have feel-like temperatures that could be as high as 110, 115 degrees. And by the way, this heat is lasting through the holiday weekend. We don't get a break until Sunday or Monday.
Many communities are opening cooling centers for those needing AC. Despite that heat, President Trump says on the 4th of July in Washington, celebrating America 250.
I'm going to go and I'm going to make a really long speech just to show that I can do anything.
He said that in North Dakota, where he visited the new Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library. Russia went on the attack again in Ukraine, big time.
A night of horror, according to Ukraine's foreign minister. Homes made uninhabitable, buildings reduced to rubble, the sky lit up. Death and destruction as explosions shook Kyiv for hours. 74 missiles and almost 500 drones were launched. Russia described its attack as retaliation for Ukrainian strikes on civilian infrastructure.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. There's a search at sea for a missing American sailor in the Middle East. Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv.
After an emergency water landing in the Arabian Sea, U.S. Naval Forces Central Command posted to X saying there is no indication the emergency was caused by hostile action. 3 of the helicopter's 4 crew members have been recovered and are in stable condition aboard the George H.W. Bush.
This after another day of U.S. and Iran talks through mediators in Qatar. Another American win at the World Cup.
We had to dig deep for that one. Obviously, I felt we put on such a good performance.
That's Christian Pulisic after the U.S. beat Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0 to advance to the round of 16. Team USA will face Belgium next on Monday. America's listening to Fox News. 79 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Hazy sunshine in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Hot and humid, high 95. And this morning, Chicago police tell us they're investigating a shooting in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood. 2 killed, 2 wounded overnight as gunfire broke out in that neighborhood near a gas station. Chicago's top cop is calling it a career. CPD Superintendent Larry Snelling announcing he's retiring on July 15. Alderman Ray Lopez says it's a bad time for that retirement.
When we've already had countless teen trends, street takeovers, multiple mass shootings, and to leave it in the hands of a novice or temporary placeholder concerns me.
The mayor says Fred Waller will take over as interim superintendent, and the head of Chicago's FBI field office is leaving his position next week. Special agent in charge Douglas D. Podesta is retiring on Monday, July 6. Following a community backlash, a major landowner in Hoffman Estates is pulling a data center project off a 186-acre parcel near Route 59 and Higgins Road. The Plum Farm site near South Barrington and Barrington Hills was stopped by a 4-2 vote after activists stirred up residents against the potential noise, traffic, and other problems in a large residential area.
Hoffman Estates already has 2 other data centers under construction. A Plainfield man is being identified as the remains found in a southern Illinois lake. Illinois State Police say this past Sunday night in Lake Mattoon, boaters spotted part of a human arm. Investigators determined the remains belong to Dale Wayne Turner. The incident remains under investigation. Chicago sports, Cubs pound the Padres 23-3. While the White Sox fell to the Orioles 6-1, the Blackhawks lock up newly acquired defenseman Bowen Byram with a monster contract, 6 years, $75 million. The news, a service of Goldilocks, offering Chicagoland's state-of-the-art smart security systems to protect your home or business. Get peace of mind by calling Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. We'll have a check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio with your host, Roger Piper. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about home improvement. Listen every Saturday at noon for Home Answers right here on AM 560 The Answer. Sponsored in part by JeffBuysYourHouse.com and by CenterGuard Plumbing. WIND, Chicago.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
If you're looking for a place to grow spiritually in the middle of a busy life, InTouch.org is designed for you. Explore practical, biblical teaching from Dr. Charles Stanley, daily devotionals, free study guides, and messages that speak to real-life challenges. Whether you're searching for direction, comfort, or a deeper understanding of God's Word, you'll find tools to help you take the next step. Discover resources that meet you right where you are at InTouch.org.
So Ryan and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. He provided for our family in life and also after his death. I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Apply in minutes and get same-day coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Fight or flight? In Illinois, you've got both options. You can stay and fight, engage in local races, work to change things. Or you can vote with your feet. At leavingil.com, we help you build a smart exit plan so you know where to go, when to go, and how to do it right. Take our quick exit readiness assessment. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
If stairs in your home are becoming difficult, there's a practical solution, and it doesn't have to come with pushy salespeople. Access provides dependable stair lifts designed to help you stay safely in the home you love. No gimmicks, no overselling, just honest guidance, quality equipment, and professional local installation. We'll explain your options, work within your budget, and let you decide what's right at your pace. For a straightforward, no pressure, free in-home consultation, call 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
7:08, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. An accident cleared outbound on the Ike this morning right near the Circle interchange. An accident showing up this morning on the Tri-State. A right lane is blocked northbound side between the Thornton Quarry to right before Dixie Highway. And an accident in the cleanup stages, Elmhurst, North Avenue at Elm. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And now a check of your forecast in the Air Ride Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, expect hazy sunshine with a breeze, very hot and humid conditions, and the possibility of a thunderstorm in the area late this afternoon. The high will reach 95 degrees. Tonight will be mostly cloudy, very warm and humid with a few showers and a thunderstorm. The low will be around 75 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So, Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling announcing through a letter that was filed and released that he is retiring from the force effective July 15th, saying in part, as I reflect on the past 3 years, I also reflect on the most difficult moments we've had as a department and city. Families in this city lost loved ones to violence, and too many officers were killed in the line of duty because of the same violence they work to protect everyone from. No matter what, I will always work to ensure the sacrifices of our fallen heroes and the strength and resilience of our Gold Star families are never forgotten. My T-shirt I wore as a new recruit is framed in my office and is a reminder of where I started. When I walked into the police academy at 22 years old, I wanted to protect those who needed help and make a difference in the lives around me. More than 3 decades later, I hope I did just that. Superintendent Larry Snelling for reaction to the announcement and maybe some context of why Superintendent Snelling decided to make this decision and make it now. Pleased to be joined by former Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson. Eddie, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
No problem, Dan. How you doing this morning?
Very well. Good to talk to you again. So were you surprised by Snelling's announcement?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you look at it, Dan, you typically don't have a superintendent that comes in with a mayor that leaves it just under 3 years, So, it's surprising. And certainly when we're getting into the midst of the summertime, that's an unusual time for a boss to leave. So it's a little surprising, yeah.
Do you think that disagreements just began to pile up where Snelling thought maybe he wasn't in a position to be successful? I mean, they've sparred over ShotSpotter, they've sparred over curfews, teen takeovers in the offing this summer. Maybe it just became too much to make it make sense to stay?
Yeah, I tell you, Dan, not having personal knowledge, of course, of what was going on. But, I mean, when you read between the lines, yeah, I think that it became difficult for the superintendent to do the things that he wanted to do, and I realized how blessed I was to have a mayor like Rahm Emanuel who really didn't interfere with me running the police department and actually had my back on everything. We were in lockstep. So, when you look at the past couple of years with Superintendent Snelling and the mayor, they were often disagreeing on things. And I think, when you pick or choose a superintendent as a mayor, you're depending on that person to kind of guide you in terms of what public safety should look like in the city of Chicago. And I think, just from what we saw publicly, the disagreements, especially like something with ShotSpotter, I do believe it just became too much, and so, Superintendent Snelling is at the end of the day, he's a cop, and he wants to protect the city. These teen takeovers is a nuisance, and if you're not able to deal with it like you think you should be able to, it's frustrating, and then you get to a point to, why should I stay?
Well, also the issue of police resources, which has been a nagging one. The manpower is one of them. but also the devolution away from police. So violence interrupters, quote unquote, to help with crime problems, public safety problems on mass transit, on CTA. And then you had this announcement last week, the creation of a new department to combat gun violence, which, as most people reacted immediately, most common sense people reacted, I thought that was the Chicago Police Department. So, I mean, I wonder if that, the sort of the slow backdoor defunding or devolving of power away from police, you can't do it through the front door. It's just too unpopular. But maybe Brandon Johnson and those who are his fellow travelers on city council see opportunities to do it through the back door.
Yeah, I agree with you totally, Dan. I mean, when I left, we had roughly 13,500 sworn officers, and now we're down in the 11,000, and the fact of it is they're slowly defunding the police department without doing it or saying it publicly. And as a police superintendent, I can tell you that would have been upsetting to me, because now you're taking away resources. And trust me, a city like Chicago, when it's roughly 170 square miles, 2.7 million people, you need the resources to keep that population safe. And when you see steady declines in personnel, first of all, it's tough because, just like the CTA, you can't man those things 24/7 like you want to if you don't have the personnel to do it. And although, the mayor, kind of scaled back his rhetoric in terms of defunding the police, I got to tell you, as a police officer, that's what I see happening. You're not saying it, but that's what you're doing by not replenishing the ranks. The Chicago Police Department has more oversight than anybody in the nation, which is nutty to me, that you need that many layers of oversight. Let the police do their jobs. When they're wrong, let's say they're wrong and try to fix why they were wrong. But at the end of the day, you need these folks to be out here patrolling and protecting the citizens of this city. And when a superintendent feels like, his boss doesn't have his back, then yeah. I mean, and when you look at the things going on, especially with this new creation of this new department, yeah, that would be unsettling to me as a superintendent.
So you have institutions like COPA, you have politicians like BLM, Brandon, you probably just know him as Brandon, and other members of the city council. And it's not just some of what they're doing that we're describing, but also the way they address criminal behavior, where it's, kids being silly, where the main concern is we don't want to demonize young people by referring to them in pejorative ways. That whole orientation, it has to, it's indicative of something, and it's indicative of an ideology is what's indicative, and that can't be lost on Snelling any more than it is on the rank and file.
Right. I absolutely. You're hitting the nail right on the head. Listen, you have these teams downtown or wherever they might gather, acting up, being disruptive, destroying property, attacking people. Then we have to deal with them accordingly. The people aren't the ones demonizing them. They're demonizing themselves with their behavior, and to ignore that is doing a disservice to the very people you claim that you're trying to protect. And at the end of the day, Larry Snelling is a cop. He's a police officer, so he knows what needs to be done in terms of dealing with situations like that. And look, I always say, here's the thing about people that are engaging in that type of behavior. They don't worry so much about the length of a certain consequence. What they worry about is the certainty of a consequence. And if they don't have a certainty of a consequence, they're going to continue that behavior. And that's what we saw, and are still seeing. So, like the team takeover, there's a way to deal with it. He's just not letting the superintendent do it the way he probably wants to.
And violence is treated with kid gloves, euphemistically violent offenders are referred to euphemistically. Meanwhile, law enforcement is called a sickness. Well, that's what Brandon Johnson said.
Yeah, that I tell you, that might have been the most disheartening thing that I've heard in the last couple of years. And to be the superintendent and to hear your mayor, your boss, make a statement like that is certainly disheartening. And to be honest, if it were me in that position, I probably would be doing that too, because then it gets to a point where, well, why am I doing this? Because you can't fight with the mayor. You just can't. The mayor and the police superintendent should be in lockstep with whatever they're doing. They should be. And the rank and file see it. The public sees it. So at the end of the day, Snelling is not even at his third year mark yet. I think that's in September. So when you read between the lines, there's something, that was going on there that he probably felt like, why am I stressing myself like this if I'm not getting the full cooperation of City Hall?
What about the issue of being able to work with federal law enforcement? I mean, you had to deal with that to some extent as well, because obviously Chicago was a sanctuary city back when you were superintendent too. But I mean, it's taken a much sharper. It's being attacked with a much sharper angle now under the last two mayors, but particularly this one. And of course, we had some high-profile incidents with the stand-down order that was given when there were federal law enforcement officers in distress that Snelling sort of had to dance around. And I just wonder, how that factors in too. And maybe this is an opportunity for revisiting some or all of these issues with Snelling's departure, whether he will want to cop to why he left or not. These certainly seem to be issues that impacted his decision.
Of course they are. When I was superintendent, we were sanctuary city back then, the same thing. But the mayor trusted me enough to be able to deal with it on a daily basis without coloring outside of the lines. And what I mean by that is I talk to the federal facts weekly, if not on a day-to-day basis, depending on what was going on. And at the end of the day, they're still law enforcement. So, the fact that, you hear things like, CPD can't assist them if there's a problem is just ridiculous, because they have the same rights as anybody else if they run into problems. And you don't want that happening on your watch, So like what I would do, the mayor and I would talk about it, from time to time, but he knew that I still kept in touch with the federal agencies, and if they got into trouble, we certainly aren't going to ignore it. We're going to go help them just like we would anybody else. So all those things taken into consideration, I'm sure made the superintendent's job just a lot more stressful than it needed to be.
I mean, what are you and your friends in law enforcement? What are you looking for, not necessarily looking forward, but looking for from whatever ends up being the field of candidates in the mayor's race? Because obviously that's starting to pick up in pace now with a number of candidates announcing and more coming. Do you think that there is enough energy in the city to make a course correction when it comes to public safety? Or, frankly, the BLM Brandon element in that party, including in this state, really seems ascendant, not only here, but across the country. So things can actually continue to deteriorate or even get worse.
Yeah, I mean, look, as a law enforcement former official, what I would like to see is someone from the city, because I just think that there's a better synergy when you get somebody from inside the ranks. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you may need an outsider just to change things up, but I don't think we need that right now. But the problem is, I think there's enough energy within the city and certainly within the police department to change some things. But the problem is, Dan, to be quite honest, I just don't think City Hall sees it that way. I just don't. So when we look at a potential mayoral candidate or even the current mayor, I just would like to see someone who understands public safety and understands that you hire a police superintendent because they're expert in that particular field. And you should listen to them and not tell them what to do, but let them tell you what needs to be done. Because to me, you're doing a disservice when if you are a civilian and has never worked in public safety or as a police officer, never put a pair of handcuffs on somebody, never locked someone up, then how are you going to tell me what to do? Because at the end of the day, in order to understand, you have to have done it to understand what that is. And certainly most politicians haven't done that. But you know who has done that? The police officers that are out there doing it on a daily basis. So I just would like to see someone who's got the rank and file and the police department that has their back and are willing to let them do what they need to do to protect this city.
Eddie Johnson, former Chicago police superintendent. Eddie, always good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
You too, Dan. Have a great day.
You too. And Eddie joined us on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
With things moving fast to resolve the situation in the Middle East, the headlines may change, but the fundamentals haven't. America's debt continues to climb, and uncertainty still hangs over the global economy. That's why investors continue turning to one asset that has stood the test of time: physical gold and silver. For generations, gold has been viewed as a safe haven asset during periods of geopolitical tension and market volatility. That's why Advantage Gold wants to send you a free gold investment guide valued at $49, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's acclaimed book, Our Dollar, Your Problem, when you call 800-900-8000. Discover why central banks are buying gold, why many Americans are diversifying with precious metals, and how a tax and penalty-free rollover into physical gold and silver may fit into your retirement strategy. Don't wait until the next crisis dominates the headlines. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 right now. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneinc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneinc.com. Tech made personal locally.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
March 4th, 1865. The Civil War was nearing its end. The nation was exhausted, divided, and grieving. On that day, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address, just 700 words spoken in about 7 minutes. 41 days later, Lincoln would be assassinated. Yet the words he spoke that day still echo through history. In that brief address, Lincoln referenced God 14 times, spoke of prayer, and quoted scripture repeatedly. He reminded Americans that both sides of the conflict shared a common faith, saying both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. Lincoln understood that political division alone could not explain the nation's crisis. More than 160 years later, America still wrestles with division, truth, and our dependence on God. The question is whether we'll remember the wisdom Lincoln left behind.
I couldn't get off the floor playing with my grandson. We would build a fort, the pillow blanket fort. I couldn't get down on the floor to go through it with him.
Ah, yes, pillow and blanket forts, the stuff grandkid memories are made of. For Donna, it was stolen by joint pain. That's where QC Kinetics came in. Cutting-edge regenerative treatments that help restore aching joints without surgery.
I'm pain-free. When he runs down the driveway to jump up into my arms, I can confidently pick him up and hug him as hard as he's hugging me.
Hug hugs, and blanket forts. QC Kinetics helped Donna get back to the things that brought her the greatest joy.
This is what life's about, grandkids and being able to be mobile enough to participate. None of this would have been possible without the QC Kinetics team. They were wonderful.
Call QC Kinetics for your Get My Life Back free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. 312-827-6261.
Rick Borick talks about the emotions of stock market investing.
At what point would you rethink your decision that you're invested in the stock market? And you'll notice that someone who answered that question 6 months ago saying, I'm not going to panic until it's down 30%, calls you up on the phone and says, it's down 8, what's going on? And I says, what happened to the 30% guy, right?
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Picture warm Gulf breezes, turquoise waters, white sand beaches. Now, add evenings of conversation with Salem Media's Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, and Jennifer Horn. This November, sail from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Mexico on a 7-day journey built for those who love this country. Book your cabin today when you text the word cruise to 94878. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary the right way on the Gulf of America Cruise. Book your cabin now. Text the word cruise to 94878.
This 4th of July, celebrate America the right way. Fire up the grill, invite the family over, launch the fireworks, and proudly display a handcrafted wooden American flag from UniqueWoodenFlags.com. These stunning hand-finished wooden flags are built with real craftsmanship and patriotic pride. Whether you want a classic American flag, military tribute flag, America First design, or a beautiful flag cross that celebrates both faith and freedom, they've got something for every proud American. Perfect for your home, office, man cave, lake house, garage, or as a meaningful gift for veterans, first responders, and patriots who still love this country. This Independence Day, don't just wave the flag, display it with pride. Visit UniqueWoodenFlags.com today. That's UniqueWoodenFlags.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up at 7:37, we'll pour over the birthright citizenship case, the decision handed down yesterday by or 2 days ago by the Supreme Court in Trump v. Barbara. We'll talk about that and other matters of law and order with Georgetown Law Professor Randy Barnett. 7:37. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
80 degrees in Chicago at 7:31. Hazy sunshine today. Thunderstorms rolling through the area right now, and those storms are dropping down from Wisconsin. Shower and storms could hit off and on throughout the day and into the evening. A shooting at an Auburn Gresham gas station has left 2 dead and 2 others wounded this morning. Chicago police tell us 4 victims were outside when 4 suspects approached and opened fire. The suspects then fled on foot. The shooting took place around 12:30 in the 7600 block of South Halstead. Chicago's police superintendent Larry Snelling is telling everyone he's calling it a career, retiring on July 15 after more than 33 years of service.
The spotlight isn't something that I'm necessarily interested in. What I'm interested in is succeeding and success and making sure that whatever we're doing as an organization is going to be effective for everyone in the city.
The mayor, Brandon Johnson, says Fred Waller will take over as interim superintendent. Russia has launched a massive drone and missile attack on Kiev, killing at least 20 civilians. The Justice Department says it's now directing staff to bring fraud charges in alleged cases of birth tourism. It's in response to the Supreme Court ruling Tuesday supporting birthright citizenship. A Navy service member is missing after a helicopter went down in the Arabian Sea.
The MH-60S Seahawk helicopter made an emergency landing at sea yesterday. The U.S. military says there's no indication the crash was caused by enemy action, but the cause is still under investigation. Navy assets are searching for the missing crewman. 3 others on board were hurt but are in a stable condition. The U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet says the helicopter was deployed to the region on the USS George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier. Helicopter water landings carry a lot of danger, even for experienced pilots. The top-heavy aircraft risk flipping upside down during submersion. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Following community backlash, a major landowner in Hoffman Estates is pulling a data center project off of a 186-acre parcel at Route 59 and Higgins Road. The Plum Farms site near South Barrington and Barrington Hills was stopped by a 4-2 vote. Activists stirred up residents against the potential noise, traffic, and other problems in a largely residential area. Hoffman Estates already has 2 other data centers under construction. Chicago sports. The Cubs pound the Padres 23-3. Dansby Swanson blasting 3 home runs, including a grand slam. White Sox fall to the Orioles 6-1. Another trio of favorites advance in the World Cup to round 16 in the knockout stage. England over Congo DR, while Belgium upsets Senegal 3-2. And in the nightcap, the U.S. secures a 2-0 win over Bosnia. The news, a service of Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds and affordable blinds. You measure at home and save big. No retail store markup at Blindster.com. A check on the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio with your host, Roger Piper. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about home improvement. Listen every Saturday at noon for Home Answers right here on AM 560 The Answer. Sponsored in part by Access Home and Vehicle Mobility Solutions and by Steiner Homes.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a 3rd-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a 5th-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-555-2085, 800-555-2085, or biglou.com.
Tired of posting to your business's social media but only your employees notice it? Meanwhile, your competitors are winning over customers by racking up thousands of views. At Myers Media, we create social media content that gets engagement and drives sales. Here's how it works. If you're in Chicagoland, we sit down with you and come up with all the ideas. Then we handle the filming, editing, and posting. You don't lift a finger. Out of town? No problem. We build the scripts, coach you through filming it on your phone. Then we take care of the editing and posting. Myers Media also does bigger projects like website videos, event filming, and paid ads that make people pick up the phone and call you. You know what makes your business special, and we know how to turn that into content that gets noticed and gets you customers. Schedule a consultation with us today at myersmedia.net. Again, that's Myers, MEYERS, media.net. At Myers Media, we create social media content that gets engagement and drives sales. MyersMedia.net. Let's get you noticed.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
7:39. A check on the roads. Lombard, an accident this morning. Roosevelt Road and School. 8094 stop-and-go traffic westbound. You'll hit the brakes right at Torrance. Roadwork delays, pretty normal for the summer, and it will last that long on Route 53 northbound between the Adams and Kirchhoff. Stop-and-go traffic northbound on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, and stop-and-go traffic on the Stevenson inbound between Harlem and Kedzie. Traffic, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite brands, including Croft University at 560theanswer.com/store. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And now a check of your forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Hazy sunshine, thunderstorms in spots throughout the midday into the afternoon with a high of 95.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. And President Trump, while up in North Dakota communicating with AI Teddy Roosevelt, was asked about the Supreme Court's decision in Trump v. Barbara, the birthright citizenship case, and had this to say.
It was the most important, and we want some others too. It was the most important decision of all of them, I think. But we'll take care of the birthright citizenship because that was not meant for rich people from other countries. That was meant for, actually, it was meant for the babies of slaves. If you look at it, it was a month after the Civil War ended that it went through. That's because it was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for rich people from China. They came over in Gulf Streams. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So I know they got it wrong, but that's okay because they gave us something that nobody thought. But they also gave us something in one of the sessions a year ago was called merit. Our country now is based again on merit.
Nobody shepherdizes a case like President Trump. He has not been nearly as upset by the Supreme Court's decision as in the birthright citizenship case as some might have expected. Maybe he sees that silver lining that J.D. Vance was referencing because the decision was closer than some wags had suggested it would be, 5-4 decision. And so this is, going the way of Roe at the same sort of pace that terrible Supreme Court decisions end up seeming to require for a resetting, overturning Dred with the anti-slavery amendments, overturning Plessy v. Ferguson with Brown, overturning Roe with Dobbs, and so forth. That's the trajectory we're on. Perhaps perhaps. But I think that whole birthright or birth tourism issue associated with birthright citizenship, I mean, it has real sort of commonsensical appeal. Ron DeSantis, America's governor, if you will, governor of Florida, who was a JAG Corps officer, had this reaction to the same decision.
When they did the 14th Amendment, what they were trying to do was overturn the Dred Scott decision. Dred Scott said that the Supreme Court in Dred Scott said Dred Scott wasn't a citizen because he was black, he couldn't sue, and Lincoln rejected that. And so what they wanted to say is, wait a minute, no, you're a citizen, regardless of race, and we're going to correct that injustice. That was the purpose of it. It was not to have people show up from China for 2 weeks, have babies, get them citizenship, and then go back to China. I mean, how ridiculous has this become? And it wasn't, even though they didn't really conceive of illegal immigration at the time, because transportation was more difficult, it wasn't as easy to come to a country illegally, as it has historically been to the United States, particularly when Biden was in. But they never would have thought that somehow people coming in against the wishes of the people who are responsible for electing people and writing the laws, that you come in against the law, have a kid, and somehow that's an American citizen as well. So I think in terms of the original understanding, they never conceived that it would end up being this way. Now, I was predicting this was going to come out this way, unfortunately, because I just remember, when I was in law school, they drum it into you, it's already been decided. Anyone that steps foot, you do that, it's automatic. That's the original understanding. And a lot of people, I just assumed that was correct. Then when you actually read and you study the debates and you understand what they were trying to do, I don't think that's how it was originally understood.
For more on this, please be joined by Professor Randy Barnett, Georgetown law professor, also author of Felony Review, Tales of True Crime and Corruption in Chicago, which I did purchase and read, and it's quite good and entertaining too. It's like it's sort of like reading Gus Russo's The Outfit. It's sort of a modified history of Chicago seen through the criminal justice system. Anyway, Professor Randy Barnett, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to have you. Glad to be here, and I sit here in sunny Florida, where my governor just gave you a really nice cut.
Yes, he did, didn't he? Do you share DeSantis's view?
I do, including the last part, which I think people really, really, who are very upset by this opinion and by this decision, as I am, should keep in mind. And that is that about a year and a half ago, the conventional wisdom was completely on the other side, and I myself was, I had no serious reason to question the political, the conventional wisdom. What I had read that objected to it, I did not find persuasive. The scholarship that has persuaded the court has all arisen in the last year, and it is. I'm astounded by the fact that there actually were 4 votes for that we would call revisionist scholarship, which I think is correct, by the way. Because that's just not the way the courts work. They don't work that fast. They don't move that fast. But the fact that it was 5-4 and not 8-1 or 7-2, which is kind of what I expected, it means that this decision could be reversed. It's vulnerable with a change in personnel or a change in circumstances.
And so explain your turning on this. What it was just getting into arguments advanced by people like Professor Richard Epstein that gave you, you started to reconsider, and you ultimately came to the same conclusion that this is not what the citizenship clause in the 14th Amendment meant?
Yes, although Richard, my friend Richard's book came late to the dance. I'd already changed my mind before his book. I saw a pre-publication version of his book a few months ago, which confirms what I'd already learned from other scholars such as Ilan Werman at the University of Minnesota and Kurt Lash at the University of Richmond.
Yeah,
it was their two work by them that really called this into question for me. I had an op-ed in the New York Times about a year and a half ago saying I thought the president's, along with Ilan Werman, saying I thought the president had a stronger argument than people are giving him credit for. But we were still pretty tentative when we wrote that op-ed it wasn't until my op-ed in the Wall Street Journal the day before the oral argument where I announced or I said that I was persuaded now that the revisionist case is actually the strongest case. And I do think this was only confirmed by the power of the dissenting opinions by Justices Thomas and Alito and Gorsuch.
The ACB decision to go with the majority and the Roberts, in the Roberts majority opinion in the case. Obviously, she is very much the focus here because what Roberts did was sort of expected of Roberts in legal circles, especially conservative legal circles. And it may have also been expected of Amy Coney Barrett, but there's less tolerance for that because obviously she's a Trump nominee and she was sold as this great conservative jurist. And this is another decision, and there have been meaning there have been others where she has disappointed and confused. And she's ostensibly, or her clerks are seeing the same scholarship that you're seeing, that you just referenced, and yet she folded in with Roberts.
Well, she didn't write, so we can't be exactly sure what her thinking is as to why she joined the majority. So that's speculation. Look, I should have, in preparing for this call, I should have put Eric Erickson's tweet on when he lists all the decisions that she's made.
I've got
that are critical, including in 5-4 cases, to the conservative political agenda, and I think to restoring the original meaning of the Constitution. She's been a terrific pick, even though she will disappoint people on occasion because she is an independent mind. Look, there's another thing I want to say before I forget about it, because it was raised by the clips from President Trump and Governor DeSantis, and that is, notice the example that they used, the birthright tourism example, not the children to people who have been here for 20 years example. And the reason why I think that's important is not that the principle wouldn't apply in both, because I think it does, but I think the case is way, way easier to make with respect to birthright tourism. And if the EO, and this is hindsight now, if the EO had simply been limited to that, I wonder, and I really, really wonder, if the case would have come out the other way. Because in oral argument, Chief Justice Roberts expressed astonishment at this birthright citizenship idea. I don't think the Solicitor General really followed up on that very well. It's one of the weakest points in his otherwise very strong argument in oral arguments about that to the Chief. I wonder if it had been limited to that, whether you could have flipped and gone the other way.
Well, I mean, it's interesting you make that point because Alito essentially wanted to kick the can on that in his dissent. Say, let's set aside the issue of the long domiciled illegal immigrant in America who then has a kid, and whether he didn't want. We don't have to deal with that right now. Essentially, is we have to just put this marker down about the limitations of birthright citizenship that are, well, the understanding of the 14th Amendment, and then, the latitude that Congress has to act here. And that's sort of where Kavanaugh wanted to go to in his dissent with not wanting to make a declaration about whether this was a constitutional right to give Congress more latitude as well.
Yeah, well, Justice Thomas's opinion, which was all based on domicile, was mainly aimed at birthright tourism. It was not mainly aimed at people who had been here and established a permanent residence or demonstrated their intent to be permanent residents. It would have been more problematic to apply his reasoning to that circumstance. So, yeah, I think that the case would have been different if that had been done, but it would have, it would have been momentous. Look, one of the other things I want to emphasize to people who are very disappointed by this opinion, and again, I share their disappointment. Although again, I didn't expect to win after. You just can't turn the ship around that quickly. But the key here really isn't this case. The key here is enforcing the current immigration laws. One of the things I think people tend to forget about is immigration laws currently favor the administration, and it's been all kinds of forces that have been operating for 20 or 30 years to prevent the enforcement of existing law. We are always told, Dan, that we ought to go to Congress and we ought to get a new law if we want our policy positions enforced, don't they? Isn't that what they always say to us? Right. Go to Congress. Don't go to. The law is already the way it should be. It's just not being enforced. And what the president has been trying to do through 2 terms, interrupted by a Biden hiatus, is to enforce the existing law. Let them go to the Congress and change the law, right? Let's enforce the law that we have. And I think that puts us on we should think of ourselves on a much stronger footing than we do, where the issue is all enforcement. And that's the other thing I'll say on behalf of the court. The district courts below have been resisting the president and acting in civil disobedience in many respects. The district courts below have been doing this. The Supreme Court has slowly but surely disciplined the lower courts, or at least reversed what the lower courts have done, and given the president ever more discretion in enforcing the law that gives the president discretion to enforce the law.
Right. And I mean, and the interesting thing, too, is, again, Trump's attitude towards this term. He posted on Truth Social about the term in general. And he made the same exception that he made rhetorically in the clip that I played from his visit to North Dakota yesterday, that it's disappointing, but we'll take care of that. But he was very appreciative and borderline celebratory about the Supreme Court's decision, including Amy Coney Barrett, in the Slaughter case, for example, with respect to executive authority over personnel, and some of the other decisions that were handed down this term, including his essential authority with respect to temporary protected status designations and stuff too. So,
how about the Voting Rights Act decision,
and the Voting Rights Act? Yes,
which is going to has huge immediate impact, right?
Yes, right. So, I mean, it's, to the point, it's like not all is lost. It's not the end of our country, and some of a little bit of the overheated rhetoric in the direction of disappointment. There's a lot here that went in the direction towards a restoration of the originalist meaning of the words in the Constitution.
Well, here's another thing to think about. If we were having 100 illegal immigrants come in a day, or 100 illegal immigrants giving birth to children coming in a day, there wouldn't be that would not seem like it's a cataclysmic consequence, right? The issue is how many are here, how many are coming in, how many are allowed to stay. That's the issue, and that's handled by immigration law that Congress has already passed and that the president is seeking to enforce.
Well, and you heard perhaps on our news that the Department of Justice is already talking about closing or enforcing the loophole in birthright citizenship, dealing with some of these birthright tourism individuals as fraudsters.
Right. Well, I mean, I haven't been, because I'm on vacation with my family, interrupting my vacation for you, Dan. I turned down SiriusXM. I turned down Bill O'Reilly. I turned down everybody, but I did not turn down you, Dan.
That's right. I'm first in your heart. Yeah, thank you.
That's right, and Chicago is as well.
Yes.
As you very, very. By the way, thanks very much for your very kind words about the book Felony Review. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have not been keeping a track of all the reactions, and so that's why I was listening to your setup piece with great interest.
No, but I mean, just in terms of but the play is potentially to address this in a narrow way through Department of Justice investigations and ostensibly prosecutions of people that would attempt to commit fraud with respect to birthright citizenship, or in pursuit of birthright citizenship.
Right. Well, actually, it's a slight change in subject here, and that is that I think the president's fraud task force has been doing enormous work. We've always talked about waste, fraud, and abuse, but then nothing was ever done about the fraud part. And then we were also sort of told that you can't balance the budget based on waste, fraud, and abuse. I'm not so sure about that. It looks like there has been systematic nationwide scams that have been going on because there are states that refuse to enforce the restrictions that already exist on existing Medicaid laws, et cetera. And this task force is actually doing something. I mean, it's surprising to me. But the president's task force, headed by J.D. Vance and the chairman of the Federal Trade Commission as well, that's been doing enormous good, and I think and that should be allowed to continue, and we should be allowed to reap the benefits of that.
Randy Barnett is Georgetown law professor, also the author of the book Felony Review: Tales of True Crime and Corruption in Chicago. Professor Barnett, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your vacation.
I I appreciate it, Dan. Always good to talk to you.
You too. And Professor Barnett joined us in the alphawealthgroup.com answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Croscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Croscom.
Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Stuck in Illinois? Between the taxes, the politics, the weather, it's exhausting. But leaving isn't as simple as packing up and going. That's where LeavingIL.com comes in. We help you create a smart step-by-step plan so you don't make the wrong move at the wrong time. Start with our quick exit readiness assessment today. Go to LeavingIL.com. That's LeavingIL.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app. Or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
A hiring slowdown. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Less than half what it was in May. 57,000 jobs created last month. Economists expect to double that. And the number of new jobs in May also revised down by 43,000. However,
the unemployment rate fell to 4.2%, down from 4.3%, which it had been holding steady at for about 3 months.
That's Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni. For a second day, there's a search in the Arabian Sea for a sailor still missing after a U.S. Navy helicopter made an emergency water landing.
The U.S. military says there's no indication the crash was caused by enemy action, but the cause is still under investigation. Navy assets are searching for the missing crewman. 3 others on board were hurt but are in a stable condition. The U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet says the helicopter was deployed to the region on the USS George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. It's up to now at least 20 deaths in Ukraine after a Russian bombardment. Hundreds of drones and missiles targeting the capital, Kyiv. Many others are injured. There's a lot of damage. It's a Russian retaliation for Ukrainian strikes that hit oil facilities inside Russia. Millions of Americans will try not to be outside a lot today.
The heat will be dangerously warm.
That's Fox Weather's Michael Estime. He's outside D.C. in National Harbor, Maryland, where it could hit a record 102 degrees today.
Just make sure that you're drinking plenty of water, wearing those light and loose colored clothing, and you're finding air conditioning at every opportunity.
With the humidity factored in, it'll feel like over 100 in a lot of areas. Heat warnings, alerts stretch from Arkansas to Wisconsin, Michigan to Pennsylvania, Maryland up to Maine. Team USA advances at the World Cup, beating Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0, despite playing most of the second half shorthanded when an American was ejected, getting a red card for a foul.
I think it shows our character. I mean, we said it before a lot of times. We're always there for each other.
Malik Tillman scored the second goal. The American team advances to the round of 16. America's listening to 80 degrees. We've had some thunderstorms cross from north of the Cheddar Curtain down into northern Illinois this morning, and that will be the case throughout the day. Hazy sunshine and a high of 95 in the QC Kinetics newsroom. And our top story, a shooting at an Auburn Gresham gas station has left 2 dead and 2 others wounded. Chicago police tell us it happened this morning around 12:30. 4 victims were standing outside when 4 suspects approached and opened fire. The suspects then fled on foot from the 7600 block of South Halstead. Chicago's top cop is calling it a career.
Superintendent Larry Snelling announcing he's retiring on July 15. Mayor Brandon Johnson praising Snelling for his leadership. Police Commission member Anthony Driver says it is a huge loss.
Larry Snelling is Chicago, right? He grew up coming up through the ranks. He, born and raised in Inglewood. He knows this city.
The mayor says Fred Waller will take over as interim superintendent. Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch overnight called for a state representative to resign. Democrat Harry Benton serves the 97th district, covering parts of Plainfield and other southwest suburban communities. Speaker Welch releasing a statement saying his office received reports concerning Benton's conduct, but did not specify allegations. Speaker Welch said if Benton does not resign, he will start the process of expelling him from the House. Chicago sports. Cubs beat the Padres 23-3. White Sox fall to the Orioles 6-1. Trio of favorites wins at the World Cup, including the U.S., a 2-0 win over Bosnia. The news service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges, and you can join today at 560theanswer.com/join. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
A report this morning says OpenAI, creator of the artificial intelligence chatbot ChatGPT, has proposed giving the Trump administration a 5% stake in the company. The Financial Times says OpenAI is also suggesting that other U.S. AI companies should hand the government similar stakes. Nissan CEO Ivan Espinosa is encouraged that sales improved in the recent quarter, though he says Nissan needs to change its image. Espinosa says in recent years, Nissan was offering steep discounts to sell more cars, which hurt resale values, and it was aggressively selling to rental car companies, which cheapened the brand's image. Wall Street will be reacting this morning to the monthly employment report for June. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows and doors, to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio with your host, Roger Piper. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about home improvement. Listen every Saturday at noon for Home Answers, right here on AM 560 The Answer. Sponsored in part by Level 10 Coatings and by American Beam and Steel. Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560, The Answer.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You've got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right, doing it right since 1959.
Did you know that undiagnosed or untreated diabetes and hypertension can cause kidney failure? The National Kidney Foundation of Illinois has the nation's only traveling kidney screening program, the Kidney Mobile. The Kidney Mobile is offering free diabetes, blood pressure, and kidney disease screenings in your area. For more information, visit kidneymobile.org. Early detection can prevent kidney failure. Take charge of your health and get screened.
At Audi Morton Grove, your complete satisfaction means everything to us. As a family-owned dealership, we're dedicated to making every visit your best experience. Whether you're shopping for a new Audi, visiting for service, or simply taking a test drive, you'll always receive the personal attention and exceptional care you deserve. Visit us at 7000 Gulf Road in Morton Grove or online at AudiMortonGrove.com. McGrath Auto. Service, value, reputation. That's the power of McGrath.
Everyone walks through seasons of uncertainty, but you don't have to walk through them alone. At intouch.org, you'll find messages of hope, biblical truth, and encouragement from Dr. Charles Stanley, available anytime you need it. Dive into devotionals, watch sermons, or explore resources that help you draw closer to God day by day. When you're ready to refocus your heart and renew your faith, visit intouch.org. It may be exactly what your soul needs today.
So Ryan and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. He provided for our family in life and also after his death. I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Apply in minutes and get same-day coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Take the journey of living a happy, successful, and meaningful life through God. Listen to It's Time with Dan Lights, Sunday mornings at 9 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
8:09, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Gurnee, an accident, Washington and Milwaukee. Winfield, report of an accident, Roosevelt and Gary Mills Road. Delays on Route 53 northbound in that long roadwork zone between the Jane Addams and Northwest Highway. Vehicle fire on the Jane Addams I-90. That's very close to the future I-490 interchange to right before Lee. That vehicle fire has 2 left lanes blocked on the Jane Addams this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but first, a check of your forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, expect hazy sunshine with a breeze as it will be very hot and humid. Later in the afternoon, there is a chance of a thunderstorm in the area. The high will reach 95 degrees. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with very warm and humid conditions. There might be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with a low of 75 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Programming note, we're doing a special open mic Friday at the bottom of the hour, even though it's Thursday, because we're off tomorrow. So grab a line at the bottom of the hour if you want to opine on, on whatever topic you'd like to opine, including perhaps our conversation with our next guest, Rich Lowry. But before we get to Rich, President Trump, yesterday, before he took off to North Dakota to be escorted to the Teddy Roosevelt Library by the Rough Riders, had this to say when questioned about the state of talks with the Iranians.
Iran is moving along well. They've had very good meetings, and we'll see. We hit them very hard for 3 nights, as you know, but we're getting along very well. So I call it the denuclearization, and it's all taking place. It's all going well. The stock market is setting records virtually every day. The oil price is way down. We're down at 68. I see it hit 68 today. That's lower than when I started.
Yeah, everything's going well, so pay no attention to that. Just look at your 401k and the prices at the pump dropping. Axios, Barak Ravid reporting for Axios that behind the scenes of these negotiations, which I guess have temporarily concluded, Witkoff and Kushner are trying to sweeten the pot for the Iranians, essentially. The message that they're offering, according to this reporting, is that there's much bigger financial upside for the Iranians if they comply with America's desires, and then sanctions are relieved and they can make a lot more money selling oil. They reportedly, an official claimed that it was said be 100 times more valuable to them than using a gangster tactic to try and charge a toll, because the Iranians are still threatening to toll the Strait of Hormuz, perhaps with Oman in tow as well. So why wouldn't you do that? Well, maybe that then, and the message from Witkoff and Kushner to the Iranians was, think bigger. There's a bigger payday for you. If you comply, we relieve you of the sanctions and you make more money. Maybe money is not their object. Maybe they want to slow walk this, and maybe the administration does too, Trump administration. Maybe they want to slow walk this as long as they can to live under this 60-day paradigm for as long as they can, because they're still generating a lot of cash, and they can reload while they're generating cash and have no real interest in complying, because there's no real concern about the sanctions, as has been the case for, well, these many years. Yeah, but the question, I guess, is the Trump administration, the president and his team, are they happy letting this sort of fade away from public concern into this sort of whatever this stasis is right now, and ostensibly let Iran recover from Operation Epic Fury, and maybe in 6 or 8 years, maybe sooner, we're going to be right back in the same place, but that'll be somebody else's problem. Is that what's really going on? Well, for more on this and other topics, pleased to be joined by the aforesaid Rich Lowry, who is, of course, the editor of National Review. He's also the author of the book, The Case for Nationalism, How It Made Us Powerful, United, and Free. Rich, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So things are going very well. Look away, please. Is that fair, or do I have it wrong?
I think you nailed it exactly. I think to change the situation, we would have to be willing and able to open the Strait of Hormuz, ensure freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz through force of arms. And we're not going to do that, one, because it's a major military operation, two, because the Gulf states, importantly Saudi Arabia, don't want us to do that. They've had enough. So Trump's kind of stuck here, and he doesn't want to undertake a major bombing campaign either, because the first one wasn't popular, and we could bomb them for another 6 weeks. I don't think that's going to end the regime, and we're running low on munitions, and the Gulf states also wouldn't like that. So I think he's stuck. We're going to have this ongoing negotiation, which we're always going to hear is going very well. It's going to keep going and going. We're not even negotiating over the nuclear stuff, really, right? We're negotiating over what they supposedly agreed to the first time.
Right.
Really, the first 60-day ceasefire, they said they're going to open the strait. So they think the agreement says they control the strait. Now, it doesn't say that, but it kind of implies it, right? They're supposed to undertake all these actions, and we think the agreement says that they're going to allow free shipping, and that's a big disagreement. And the problem is they're right there. They can drone any ship at any time very easily, and we're very far away and want to be done with this.
And other than like what we had last week with they strike a couple of tankers and we strike a couple of military sites, that some of which had been struck before, and then it sort of resumes to, okay, well, now let's everybody meet in Doha and we're going to talk again. They can. You think they want to just keep this going at least through November, so this just sort of falls below the fold in the papers?
Yeah, I think the Iranians are counting Democrats take the House and Trump's hugely distracted next year with investigations, which is a pretty likely scenario. Something else comes up internationally, which can always happen. And then, the sand is really going down the clock. After this November, Trump, it's less than 2 years, and so they just need to survive, and then they'll have someone who presumably is not willing to bomb them again. Now, look, I would flip around what you said about the 6 to 8 years. I wouldn't put that in a negative category. I think that's great. If we've got 6 to 8 years, we've wrecked a lot of stuff. That's the enduring achievement here. It's just bringing it to a satisfactory conclusion was beyond our will or power.
What do you think about the unprecedented play to do an RNC for the midterms, September 9th and 10th in Dallas? I hope the lineup is better than America 250, that one. Maybe, I don't know, we don't need to see Young MC necessarily, but I actually think that's a pretty good idea. It's sort of a cleansing breath to remind people of all that has been accomplished, particularly on the economic front with the tax relief from the BBB. And hopefully, if things are continuing to go well and there is some sort of quasi-stability with respect to the Middle East, then it could be a way to sort of reset and reframe as people really tune in the last 3 months, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea as well. If you can get media attention on your message for whatever it is, a couple hours in prime time, like a day of a real convention, why not? Try it. And I think, the economy is in really good shape. If you didn't have the tariffs and this war, I think it would absolutely be cooking. So that's a bragging point, and hopefully that continues. But I think it's going to be a tough midterm for Republicans. I sort of have in my back pocket the Republicans are going to lose the House, and then I think they'll hold the Senate, but it could be close. Really? Even with the sort of verbal gymnastics that people have to do to defend some, candidates that may just be, one congressional district in New York or Colorado, but they're receiving national profile because it's part of this larger story of, the neo-Bolshevik takeover of the Democrat Party. Like, let me give you an example of what I mean. AOC defending Daria Lisa's rhetorical massaging of previous positions.
I genuinely believe that we have to give people the opportunity to occupy their beliefs within the gravity of becoming a duly elected member of Congress.
Those kind of phrases didn't work very well for Kamala Harris, so I don't know. Yeah,
the primary debate in 2028 between AOC and Kamala Harris is going to be great, right?
Oh, man.
Look, I think
that is intellectual violence.
The main drawbacks for Democrats, their party image is in the toilet. It hasn't gotten any better. It's arguably gotten worse, and they're doing things to even worsen it further. But I just think in a midterm, it's fundamentally driven by the president's approval rating. Trump's around 40 or so they don't have a big margin in the House. It's three seats before all the redistricting. After that, they probably net plus 6 seats, so maybe they can afford to lose 9. I think that's going to happen. They're going to at least lose 9, and Hakeem Jeffries is going to be Speaker. But the map is tougher in the Senate. I mean, they need to win a lot. 2 out of 4, or maybe 3 out of 4 of Texas, Ohio, Alaska. I'm forgetting one, but there's another red state in there. So I just think it's a heavy lift.
Yeah, and the Senate races are a little bit different too, because they're statewide races. They have real profile in these swing races. You're going to have cajillions of dollars spent, and so you can sort of vote against the president for your congressional race, but it's a different calculus, at least for some voters, when it comes to Senate.
Yeah, no doubt. Now look, they've hurt themselves already with poor candidate choice. I think Susan Collins is going to probably hold on in Maine, and they could, put Michigan really in play for a potential Republican pickup, which would really put the Senate out of reach for them if Republicans were to pick up seats somewhere by nominating this other crazy anti-Zionist DSA type al-Said up there in Michigan. So they're not helping themselves, but the overall environment is more favorable for them than Republicans.
What do you make of Tucker Carlson interview with Columbia Review of Journalism? I say Columbia Journalism Review, excuse me, saying, I'm going to work on building a third party because, I don't care about Hamas. I care about the guy making $60,000 who's getting squeezed from both sides, as if those two things are mutually exclusive. But I mean, but his play for that segment of the MAGAverse.
Well, talking about building a party is one thing. Actually doing it's another. It's a really big organizational lift. He has a big audience. He's a charismatic and talented communicator, but I'm not sure just how much appetite there is for what he's selling among ordinary Republicans.
Yeah.
But if it were to get off the ground, and get 1 or 2% in an election, sort of Green Party style, it would presumably screw the Republican he likes the most at the moment, J.D. Vance, who I presume is going to be the Republican nominee in 2028. So this is an idiotic project on all levels. Ideologically, I think it's noxious, and as a practical matter, it would just help elect Kamala Harris or an AOC.
Yeah, you're right about that too. Of course, I mean, you look. I see what Nigel Farage is doing over in the UK, and we can just replicate that. Well. Elon Musk talked about another party, too, for a minute. And obviously he has some other higher, better uses of his time. But I mean, it's a massive undertaking. And it's one thing to say and try and do a cult of personality play, but it's another thing to actually do and be impactful in a country this big and diverse.
Yeah, and Farage has had great success so far in the UK, in part because the Tories ignored his issues. And be it Donald Trump, it's not as though the Republican Party has ignored the populist right. It's arguably a dominant tendency within the party now.
Right. Rich Lowry, editor of National Review and author of The Case for Nationalism, How It Made Us Powerful, United, and Free. Rich, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
And Rich joined us on the alphawealthgroup.com answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Patrick, CEO of Total Wall and a client of Signature Bank. We produce high-performance materials used in exterior insulating finish systems and other stucco applications. Every growing business needs a strong team behind it. Over the years, Signature Bank has been more than a financial partner. They've shared their knowledge, offered guidance, and connected us with trusted professionals who help strengthen our business. They're a valuable extension of our team and a true partner. That's why I value my relationship with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
Joint pain is awful when you're the person fighting through it, but I'm betting you aren't the only one affected. Maybe you love someone who struggles with joint pain. It's summer, time to be outside, moving and playing. But you or your loved one is sitting it out again. Hey, it's Dan Proft here. Get your life back. Talk with my friends at QC Kinetics. That's what's happening every day at QC Kinetics. Patients are finding real relief in their hips, knees, shoulders, and backs thanks to regenerative treatment done in the office by Dr. Caravelli and the QC Kinetics medical team. No surgery, no long recovery, just real relief. Inflammation eases, the pain lets go. I've seen the results. QC Kinetics patients are happy and wish they would have done it sooner. If you're living with chronic joint pain and want an alternative to surgery, contact my friends at QC Kinetics, longtime sponsors of AM 560. Consultations are free. Weekend appointments are available. Schedule an appointment today by calling 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. Once more, that phone number, 312-827-6261.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneInc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneInc.com. Tech made personal locally.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. This week, the USA turns 250. It comes at a time when our nation has become more sharply divided than any other time in living memory. One man's wisdom calls to us from an even more bitterly divided moment in American history. 6 weeks before his assassination, Abraham Lincoln spoke to the bitter divisions of his day and how the American soul could look to the Lord for grace to heal them. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in to bind up the nation's wounds, Lincoln wrote in his 1865 second inaugural address. He sought to work for a just and lasting peace through faith, first in the Lord and then in the potential of the American spirit to prevail. Events vindicated Lincoln in his prayer for America. We must cling to our faith with no less strength in these times. I'm Ed Morrissey.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
March 4th, 1865. The Civil War was nearing its end. The nation was exhausted, divided, and grieving. On that day, President Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address, just 700 words spoken in about 7 minutes. 41 days later, Lincoln would be assassinated. Yet the words he spoke that day still echo through history. In that brief address, Lincoln referenced God 14 times, spoke of prayer, and quoted scripture repeatedly. He reminded Americans that both sides of the conflict shared a common faith, saying both read the same Bible and pray to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. Lincoln understood that political division alone could not explain the nation's crisis. More than 160 years later, America still wrestles with division, truth, and our dependence on God. The question is whether we'll remember the wisdom Lincoln left behind.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up at 8:38, special edition of Open Mic Friday on this Thursday because we're off for Independence Day tomorrow, in advance of Independence Day on Saturday. So grab a line, 312-642-5600, alphawealthgroup.com. Call and text line. We'll be taking them Open Mic Friday style. Anything you would like to say within the bounds of FCC rules and regs, at 8:38. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
8:32 in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Hazy sunshine, hot and humid, and thunderstorms off and on rolling through the area today. A shooting at an Auburn Gresham gas station has left 2 dead, 2 others wounded. Chicago police say the 4 victims were standing outside at a gas station this morning when 4 other suspects approached and opened fire around 12:30 in the 7600 block of South Halsted. Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling is calling it a career after nearly 34 years of service with the department.
The spotlight isn't something that I'm necessarily interested in. What I'm interested in is succeeding and success and making sure that whatever we're doing as an organization is going to be effective for everyone in the city.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says Fred Waller will take over as interim superintendent. The head of the Chicago FBI field office is leaving his position next week. Special agent in charge Doug DePodesta is retiring on Monday, July 6. The June jobs report shows the economy added fewer jobs than anticipated last month. Most analysts were expecting to see around 115,000 jobs versus the 172,000 reported in May. Instead, the report from the Labor Department shows an increase of just 57,000. The latest round of talks between the U.S. and Iran have ended with no major developments. Illinois House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch has called for State Representative Harry Benton to resign. Benton serves the 97th District. Speaker Welch said if Benton does not resign due to concerning conduct, he will start the process of expelling him from the House. Construction workers found what appears to be remains on Chicago's northwest side on Wednesday. CPD received a call for a death investigation in the city's Old Norwood Park neighborhood around 8:30 in the morning. And a 15-year-old who pleaded guilty to gunning down a Chicago postal worker is going to spend time behind bars. The teen has been sentenced as a minor to 5 years in the Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice. The defendant killed Octavia Redmond, who was a 5-year mail carrier, in July of 2024. Cubs score 23 runs in a blowout of the Padres, 23-3. They host St. Louis tomorrow, while the White Sox fall to the Orioles 6-1 and visit Cleveland tonight. The news service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. A check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Alex Marlow hopes Musk will keep helping.
What will he do with his trillions? And it'd be pretty cool if he stayed in the political realm and started to fund a lot of stuff, because we need so much help. We need so much help on the right. I really want to make a big list of all the billionaire funders who are ruining the country. But we need to get our own, because that's the system, it's the way it works. So hopefully Musk stays on Team MAGA.
The Alex Marlow Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
This Constitution will ensure that the government can't take those rights away from you. That was revolutionary.
A special celebration of America 250. Join Larry Elder, Haley Correo, Alex Marlow, and Larry O'Connor. Journey through the landmarks, places, and pivotal moments that help define the United States of America. Uncover the stories that shaped the greatest country on earth. Salem News Channel presents The Shining City. 7 p.m. Eastern, July 4th.
It's hard to deny the constant attack of negative emotions that flood us online. The fear, anxiety, worry, and confusion that come from the constant stream of news and social media can be overwhelming. There is a way to escape this never-ending cycle and find peace, hope, and joy in your daily life. Christianity.com, with a wide range of daily devotionals, biblical answers to life's toughest questions, and insightful Bible study articles from your favorite pastors and authors on current events and issues, Christianity.com provides a little heaven on earth. Go to Christianity.com now.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of?
Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-976-8822. That's 800-976-8822. 800-976-8822.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
8:38, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. In Gurnee, they've cleared an accident this morning. Washington and Milwaukee, Lamont, an accident being cleared out of your way at Archer, just north of 127th. Jane Addams, an accident, right lane block eastbound between Elmhurst Road and Lee, and an earlier accident being shoved out of your way on Lakeshore Drive, northbound between 18th and the Buckingham Fountain. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but first, your forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Hazy sunshine, breezy, hot and humid, and thunderstorms throughout the day with a high of 95.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now! Open mic Friday!
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Yeah, special Open Mic Friday on this Thursday before Independence Day. Taking your calls, 312-642-5600, alphawealthgroup.com. Answer line and text line. We'll take your calls there with comments, concerns, criticisms, compliments, general crack pottery. We'll take it all. Before we get to the phone lines, I did want to take note of the passing of Village People's Victor Willis. You know, he was the cop, co-founder of the group, I guess, passed at the age of 74. President Trump remarked upon him. He was a great and happy guy who loved that I used his group song, YMCA, at my rallies. It became a monster hit again 30 years after its original launch. Many singers and groups wanted to get on board at the rallies after all the rally attendance records were set. But Victor and the group was there for us right from the beginning. They loved the action, and we love them and their great and uplifting song. We think of Victor every time YMCA is played, like today, and all throughout this July 4th birthday week. My condolences to his wonderful family and group. Victor Willis will be sorely missed. And, of course, per Victor Willis at YMCA, not a gay anthem. Stop saying that.
I decided to allow the president-elect's continued use of YMCA because he seems to genuinely like the song. And, you know, so many other artists were stopping him from using their music. So I decided to contact BMI and told them not to terminate his political use license because he seemed to be bringing so much joy to the American people with his use of YMCA.
Victor, it's not just the president. Every American, dare I say, everybody in the world loves your song YMCA. When you wrote it, did you envision it would have such staying power from sporting events to bar mitzvahs to weddings to dances, basically everywhere?
One never knows, you know. Time is the only thing that lets you know. So I never had any idea.
The question on everyone's mind now, will you play at the inauguration, Victor?
Well, if you were to ask me today if Village People would perform at the inauguration, I would probably say not, because we'd be concerned about endorsement. But however, if the president-elect because the president-elect has done so much for YMCA and brought so much joy to so many people, the song has actually gone back to #1, and it's still #1 today. So if he were to ask village people to perform the song live for him, we'd have to seriously consider it.
Well, we know he watches, so Mr. President-elect, the ball's in your court. Finally, before we let you go, you're in entertainment. You've been dancing for decades. What do you make of the dance?
Well, that's the Trump thing, you know. When we do the show, we spell out the letters, but when he does it, he just does his little move, and that's his groove. And it works for him, and that's what's important.
312-642-5600, alphawealthgroup.com. Call and text line on this Open Mic Friday. Grant in Rockford, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan. Happy Thursday, Friday. Happy Independence Day. I just wanted to call and say that. I lost my father 10 years ago. His birthday was the 4th of July. Won't take up your time with your great American stories, but he was the most impressive man that I ever met, and really miss him. So love you, Dad. Love you, America. Keep up the good work, Dan, and God bless America.
Great. Thank you, Grant. Excellent. Happy 4th and happy birthday to your late father. That's going to be tough. You know, it's like a Christmas birthday, right? July 4th birthday. Peter, Highland, Indiana.
Hi, Dan. I was, speaking of people we're missing, I was thinking of Rich from Indian Head Park, who we lost earlier this year. And several years ago, around the time you and Amy were creating the character that is Sean from Elmwood Park.
Yes.
For better or for worse. I really think he would have preferred to be Carmine from Elmwood Park, like the Henry Hill of Elmwood. But anyway, Rich, you guys used to have a commercial sponsor, and it was called Star Cases. And there was, I don't have a sound clip from it, but there was one commercial where the character, he's got something that sounds like the canola analyzer got completely trashed on an airplane flight or whatever. And he was saying, "No, boss, it's going to kill me." And it sounded so much like Rich from Indian Head Park. And I'm like, oh, Dan and Amy launched Sean from Elmwood Park, and now they've got Rich voiceover work for commercials. I was convinced of that, and I kept waiting for you and or Amy to announce, well, we'd like to congratulate Rich. He's got this going on. And he'd be great for cartoons and whatever. I was just convinced of that. I can't be alone, other listeners. You guys are a pretty reliable stable of callers, but someone else had to notice that. I've got one last thing to add, if I could, real quick.
Yeah.
Someone asked me, why do you like Dan Proft's show so much? I say, he has the best line I've ever heard on radio, and this is a total non sequitur. Your line was, ask a dispositive question, get a normative answer. And that's the moment when Brad and I said, this is a guy we have to listen to.
Yeah, I really need to put that on T-shirts, don't you? Don't you think? Thanks for the call, Peter. Appreciate it. Yeah, I really should merchandise that better. Nice pull. I appreciate that. Matt, Southside.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Real quick, I'll be honest, I kind of missed some of that interview with Eddie Johnson. Was he saying that the police are allowed to work or should be working with federal agents?
Yeah, I mean, he basically was just comparing and contrasting his experience under Tiny Dancer versus what we all expect Snelling's is under Brandon Johnson, which is that he basically said Tiny Dancer gave him, you figure it out. It's like, I don't need to oversight. I don't need to tell you anything. It's a sanctuary city. You work with the federal government, but color inside the federal law enforcement, but you color inside the lines of the sanctuary thing. And so, for example, the whole matter when the stand-down order was given, when the protests were going on in Bridgeview in that area, and throughout the city, frankly, he said that if federal law enforcement makes a call for emergency assistance, then they're going to get treated like anybody else making a call for assistance, and we're going to respond. There's not going to be any stand-down order. That's what I would have done, and I had the latitude to do it under Tiny Dancer because I was empowered to be the police superintendent in a way that we suspect given all the disagreements
So then-
Snelling and Brandon Johnson have had that he doesn't enjoy.
Okay, so then Johnson, by the time he started working for Lightfoot, he had totally changed. I'm reading right now, just to refresh it. It said that he publicly boycotted Trump's speech at International Association of Chief of Police conference, citing that the administration's values regarding sanctuary city status and police did not align with his own or the city's. I mean, what kind of values does he have? The man cheated on his wife. He got those cops in trouble covering for him. I mean, I just don't respect that man at all. As far as what is he talking about? He's saying I know what his values are, and that's what gets me about him. I feel like now looking back, people kind of, look favorably on him. But I mean, come on, the man drank. He cheated on his wife.
Well,
he was totally against.
Let's not still throw
I'm
stones
sorry.
about drinking, please. Yeah,
Well, no, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I mean,
No, I hear what you're saying. I don't, his marital situation, I don't know, but I think part of this is, and I'm not, trying to stylize the Eddie Johnson's tenure, but I think saw the same thing with Snelling, and he handled it one way. The disagreements they had, as we talked about earlier, with over ShotSpotter, over teen curfews, and other matters. I think and Eddie Johnson said this in the interview, which is, look, you serve at the pleasure of the mayor. You have to get along with the mayor, because if you're not on his or her program, then go do your own program somewhere else.
So then he'll do what he has to for money, and then turn around and badmouth Lynn. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I respect your interview with him, and I know he was good enough to come on and do your show. But my whole thing with him, and about the drinking, no, we all drink or whatever. It was just how those poor cops got in trouble underneath his, because they felt bullied by his boss. That's what I meant about the drinking thing.
Yeah.
That was kind of a shame what happened with that whole situation. I just think the man's got some questionable skeletons in his closet. We all do, but I'm just saying.
All right. Thanks for the call, Matt. Appreciate it. Joni in Orland Hills.
Good morning, Dan. I have a real quick little joke for you. I know you don't like it, but this is a good one.
Okay.
Why are there no knock-knock jokes about the 4th of July?
Why are there no knock-knock jokes about the 4th of July?
Because freedom rings.
Hi-oh! That's good. All
Everyone.
right. That's good, Jody. Thank you. That's pretty funny. I haven't heard that one. Bill, we just lost Bill. Tom, Blue Island, of course.
Hey, Dan. I believe his name was Matt. There's nothing whatever when it comes to drinking. Drinking is very serious.
Yeah, right. Don't be flippant about drinking. Right, yes. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, Dan, so when it comes to, Mike Scott reported earlier that the United States beat Bosnia 2-0. They play, and I'm looking for, some Dan Proft soccer commentary. They beat the U.S. The U.S. beat Bosnia 2-0, playing shorthanded the whole second half, one player. And the question I have for you, is that a comment on soccer itself, or is whomever picking the United States opponents the same one that was picking Rocky's opponents in Rocky III to avoid Clubber Lang?
Yeah, I thanks for the call, Tom. I wish I knew how the World Cup seedings are done and so on and so forth, but I don't. I don't have that level of knowledge because I don't have any interest. The only interest I've had, as you've heard on this show, if you've listened, is all the European fans from all over the world that have come to the United States for World Cup games and are posting on social media about how great this country is and all the abundance and interesting places and nice people and experiences. That's been fun. Bill Waukegan, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, thanks for taking my call. I tried to call last Friday because it was my birthday, and but I wanted to let you know that The words you talked about with Tom Dreesen really affected me. So I went out right after listening to you. I bought an autographed picture and I got his book. And I tell you, and then I listened to a bunch of his interviews that he did with David Letterman and stuff like that, because him and David started out at the same exact time in California. And I just want to tell you that the man was a great human being, and the way you talked about him, it really affected me. And he's definitely going to be missed. We don't have stars like that anymore. So thanks, Dan. Happy 4th of July, and God bless you and the rest of your crew. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. Yeah, and I mean, what an incredible life, too. I mean, all the things that he did, you think about, and all the generations of celebrities and comedians that he was colleagues with, even mentors to in some cases, too. Yeah, it was a great life lived, no question. It was fun to be able to have those conversations with him. Speaking of inspired living, too, did you see this? Double leg amputee becomes Guinness World Record legend for climbing the 7 summits. Double leg amputee, and he climbed Mount Everest, Mount Blanc, Kilimanjaro, McKinley, Aconcagua, Puncak Jaya in Australia, and Vinson in Antarctica. I think they're all like at least 4,000 meters. It's unbelievable. Good stuff. And I like that better than those two goofballs who climbed the Empire State Building so one could propose to the other. Libby in Munster, Indiana.
Oh, hello. I want to tell you about my Aunt Pearl. My Aunt Pearl Bragg Laska Chamberlain. She was born in 1917 on Chestnut Mountain in Summers County, West Virginia. She was a contemporary of Amelia Earhart and also a pilot. However, her comment on Amelia was she had a rich husband and I didn't. Pearl earned her teacher's license and taught in one-room schools, saved her money, and took flying lessons. Her flying instructor, Ernie, would sell moonshine so he could get the lights turned on the airfield, and the male construction workers would line the field anticipating a crash. As World War II was on the horizon, she joined the civilian flight training program. Because of its name, it had to allow participation of women and black men. Both generally thought incapable of learning to fly. In that era, Pearl became an instructor and was given the black students, all who received her wings. After the war, Pearl worked for Rainbow Skyways and also taught school and home in McGrath, Alaska. She married, had a son, became a widow, but stayed in Alaska. Then she moved to Fairbanks and became the first special education teachers there. And she bought a plane, even though one aircraft dealer wouldn't sell to a woman. And she flew back and forth from Hinton, West Virginia, to Alaska. And she would stop at Chicago's Meigs Field on the way. Later, she earned her master's from Miami of Ohio. She was the first woman to fly a solo single-engine airplane up the Alaskan Highway. She flew in powder puff derbies. She held a pilot's certificate until she was 97. The Wright Brothers Association awarded her for 50 years of flying with no accidents. And her comment was, women don't take risks. She also asserted that every hour spent in the air gave a person an extra day on Earth. And she died at 103. And the book, Pearl, You're Cleared to Land, by Deanna Edens, tells her story. But from a one-room school in West Virginia to flying in Alaska and across the United States. Now, that's the American dream.
And that was did you say that was your Aunt Pearl?
Yes, yes.
Aunt Pearl. All right, great story. Thanks, Libby. Appreciate that. Wow. All right. The Prime Minister, Ogden Dunes, Indiana.
All perspicacious, Prof. It's great to talk to you, but I'm going to have to take issue with your criticism of the gorgeous Megyn Kelly.
Okay.
her tiniest baby toe, which is beautifully perfumed, it smells better than your entire stinky feet off the golf course. You can't be criticizing my girlfriend.
Okay, and the criticism was when she said of the Haitians on TPS, "Get the F out of my country," kind of thing, right? And I thought that was unnecessary, over the top, intemperate, and a little bit inconsistent with some of the things that she's been saying of late. But that's the point. That's what you're referencing, just for our listeners. Yes.
Correct,
That's it?
but you're
That's
overlooking the sex appeal. You're overlooking. She has such sex appeal that she can get away with murder, don't you know?
Okay, is that it, PM?
What do you say to Mr. Straw, who has no kids and no siblings?
What do you say to what?
Mr. Straw.
What do you say to Mr. Straw, who has no kids and no siblings? I don't know.
Yes. Well, he's the last straw.
Hi-oh. Oh, boy. All right. Thanks, PM. Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan. Good talking to you. How do I follow that?
Yeah, don't try. Yeah.
Let's just offer this on birthright citizenship. Earlier this week on cable news, I heard some history going way back to 1993 when Senator Harry Reid offered legislation to apparently fix the birthright problem. The bill died. Now today, I can't recall who, but some Republican wants to reintroduce the very same bill. And I'm just curious how far it'll get, who's going to support it and who's going to oppose it. And it's interesting, the bill was, offered by Harry Reid, a Democrat, and now we have a Republican offering the same bill. You guys have a good start. I got my flags out. Have a good weekend.
All right. Thanks, Bob, and Bob the engineer in Buffalo Grove. We appreciate it. Yeah, it was Harry Reid in 93 who introduced that legislation. It shows you the devolution of the Democrat Party into the Revolutionary Party. And, of course, Harry Reid facilitated that during his time in, as a party poobah. But to answer your question, that's Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno who has said that he will propose that. All right, everybody have a great Independence Day weekend. Happy 250. We'll see you on the other side on Monday. It's now 9 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
Less hiring and less unemployment. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. We got that update to the economy this morning.
There were just 57,000 new jobs created in June, fewer than expected, though the unemployment rate declined to 4.2%. Economists